I was like, there's clown music though. Mike has to like it.
There's clown music in this discography, and believe me, I'm gonna give it up for the clown music. I love me some clown music. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my not at all exhausted co-host, Alexander Volt. Say hello.
I'm so fucking tired.
I spoke too soon. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole new discography per episode. And today, we'll be discussing every album by
Foetus, the main project by JG Thirlwell, otherwise known as the Venture Brothers music score guy.
In case you didn't know up front, we got an elephant out of the room. Venture Brothers rules. He did all the music for it. The music rules.
Yeah.
I remember when I learned that too, because I've been watching Venture Brothers for years.
Yeah, that's how I knew his name.
Yeah, I knew his name. I knew Venture Brothers. It took me years to read it in the opening credits.
Oh, okay.
And when I finally cleared, I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's the Foetus man.
This is a completely new foreign world to me.
So you never heard any Foetus before this?
No.
Okay, I heard one album and was a fan of that album. What does Alex think, having now heard all of them?
Okay. I'm mostly tired. I didn't love anything. I think maybe like 6 months from now, I'm going to revisit it.
Okay, so already anger flags are raising, because here's the thing. I get not loving 90% of this.
Yeah.
There's one where if you don't love it, something's wrong with you.
Okay.
There is one. So
maybe that's my best stuff.
So this episode, some episodes are easier to give best and worst than others.
This was insanely hard.
This was the easiest in the world.
No.
The easiest in the world. So,
this was so hard for me.
Okay. This in my humble opinion, my very humble opinion, Alex, I think this episode has one right answer.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's how obvious it feels listening to these albums.
Because to me, as a newbie, I would say there's like kind of three different vibes.
At least.
There's like the early nuts, more experimental stuff.
Yep, the no wave kind of stuff.
The little more like polished industrial stuff.
And then
like full score cinematic stuff. And
they are real. I mean, when he leans into it, he leans into it. But I'll tell you, the transitions are kind of gradual, because we're going to be talking about 10 albums. JG Thirlwell has a lot more than 10 albums, and Foetus has a lot more than 10 albums, but a lot of those are remix albums, live albums, EPs, collab stuff. We're doing the straight Foetus albums.
Yes, we as I said off camera, we have a Mike Patton situation here where this man has tons of projects,
and even the Foetus EPs that could be an episode on its own, because there's so many of them.
Oh, before we get sidetracked, who requested?
I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness, this is requested on Patreon by Rivets. Thank you so much for supporting and for suggesting such a real wacky band.
Yes, we're just got so much to cover.
Much appreciated. If you want to support the way Rivets did, patreon.com/everyalbumever. That's where you go to suggest episodes for this one if you're tier 2. And there's also a bunch of bonus episodes and a bunch of other cool stuff for others. You go there. So yeah, they have like a million albums. The remix albums is where I started getting confused. We were going to do one, and then I realized late that it was a remix album. It's kind of listed as canon, but it's just very confusing. Because one of the main signatures of the band is much like the Jesus Lizard, check out that episode. Every album is a 4-letter word. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it like that, there's a couple EPs that don't follow that formula, but most records under Foetus follow that formula. So it looks like everything is canon. Yes. But there's a lot of full on remix albums, full on repeat songs. Just this one was mixed by Mike Patton or something. Mm-hmm. No, not for this, not for what we're doing here.
Yeah.
This is just the main stuff. And so the gradual shifts in style there was like, there is, I think maybe one moment where there's kind of like a jump where it's like, oh, well, that came out of nowhere. That wasn't there before.
Mhm.
But other than that, I think it's really, really gradual. Like everything, like there's so many albums that feel very similar to the one before it.
Yeah, I think going album to album, it makes sense. But yeah, if you go like first album, last album, that's insane.
Insane. It's
Yeah.
completely insane. But yeah.
Yeah, there is one album where I felt like it was a Growing Pains album, but I guess that one is beloved, and I get why. But and even then, I didn't dislike anything. This is a very rich band. Like there's just so much to get into. It's so overwhelming as a newbie. But like update, now I find myself like I didn't know exactly how to feel about Ween. Now, I'll listen to the mullet casually now. So
is it not amazing out?
yeah, it's amazing. So like I'll maybe get there.
Check out the Ween episode. But the journey of this I don't want to say band, but guy, artist, band thing. It feels so much like watching or listening to a boy become a man, because I feel like it's like he's learning how to be a musician over the course of these albums, because he gets a lot better at stuff as time goes on. And it's not just implementing new styles or experimenting more. It's like, I'll get into it more when we talk about the records, but some of it's like, oh, he just found a sampler and then did a bunch of coke, and then now that's the album. So there's a lot of like sloppy stuff. I think I have a lot of problems with a lot of this stuff. I don't love a lot of this. Some of it I think is absolutely really fucking great. One album that I think is stupendous, if I'm going to use a word like that. Yeah. And like a good like 3 where I'm like, all right, I'm coming back to these I love these, or maybe even 4, but a lot of inconsistencies within each album, except for one exception, but for the most part, inconsistencies in every album.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, there was a lot of things where it was just so much. It was either overwhelming, or I was like, okay, these songs are this kind of following too much of a similar pattern as previous songs. So that's where like my hang-ups got, that I didn't really love anything right off the bat. Yeah,
I get what you're saying. I mean, it is very difficult. I mean, a lot of it's very difficult. And there's going to be some comparisons to, I mean, the most obvious, of course, the birthday party. Check out that episode. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Thirlwell is from Melbourne.
Also, I feel like he did. That's another thing. I like respect the roads he paved for like a Mike Patton or even a band like Brainiac. Like Brainiac looks so normal compared to this.
Oh, dude, check out Brainiac. They're amazing, but it's so normal. So yeah, James George Thirlwell. He was born in our history guy, Tom. He got us some notes here, mostly taken from, is it Foetus.org? Like little like album reviews from the time that we're going to I'm going to decimate as best I can. But yeah, he's from, Tom is also from Melbourne. So from the same hometown.
Is that the trick? You got to say it like it's like one syllable.
Melbourne. I think I've heard Melbourne. I don't know how to fucking say it. But also another little quirk about this band, he went through like 4 or 5 different band names before settling on Foetus.
And even then, so it started out as you've got Foetus on your breath, and then there's Foetus over Frisco, then Scraping Foetus off the Wheel, then Foetus All Nude Review, then Foetus Interruptus, and then settled on just Foetus. And that's a cute thing. I imagine that's bad for marketing. But yeah, this is not a man who seems like he cares about marketing.
Yeah. I mean, he was part of the early no wave scene, heavily mingling with Lydia Lunch. And of course, Nick Cave and all that fun stuff in New York in the late 70s. And yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't too surprised by the wackiness of it, but I was surprised at how he did it and his particular brand of wacky. But some of his pseudonyms include Manorexia, Zordox, Steroid Maximus, Baby Zizany, Hydros Plus, Clint Ruin, and Wiseblood.
The Wiseblood project has Norman Westernberg
Norman Westberg
on one song. I stumbled across that and I was like, I'm going to tell Mike about this.
Oh yeah, interested. Check out Swan's rules. Yeah, of course, some overlapping with Swan stuff in the early 80s. So also, this is a little fun note here. Thurwell was in a band with Nick Cave, Mark Allman, and Lydia Lunch that existed for 3 shows called The Immaculate Consumptive. I can't imagine how horrible and amazing that was.
Yeah. In hindsight, seems amazing, but who knows? Probably too many egos.
Too many egos, too many drugs, probably. But
probably more drugs than egos.
Probably a lot of drugs, yeah.
Although I feel like if you do drugs, your ego is...
It's already on, yeah. It's on a fucking highway somewhere. So Tom writes here, he says, love is a four-letter word, and so is every release in the Foetus catalog. Who did it better, Foetus or Jesus Lizard? And then notes that Jesus Lizard are doing shows again this year. Yes, they are. I can't make it. I'm devastated, but also I don't want to go to a festival.
I'm debating it.
The festival this is going to be completely outdated for if you're watching this in the future, but it has basically every punk band that still has survived.
That you thought was dead.
If the members are surviving, then they're playing at that festival, basically.
And even some members aren't surviving. Like Sublime is somehow playing.
Ugh. Check out that episode. I forgot we covered them. I fucking hate them. Yeah, Old Misfits are headlining. Yes. And I do emphasize the old aspect. But
I was like, what kind of lineup we got for Black Flag?
Who's
whatever. I think it's the Mike Vallely.
Oh, so it's Gin's Black Flag. It's the authentic, quote unquote. Gin is authentic, but I don't like what he did with the band in recent years.
Check out that episode.
And the episode of the Misfits. And then for some reason, Jesus Lizard is on there.
Yeah. You want to see like the exploited and the casualties, and then Jesus Lizard. That's
I mean, I love me some punk. I love so many of those bands. I have no interest in seeing them, but the Jesus Lizard is like, I love them and I have to.
If I go, I want to choose the most like violent thing I could. Like, I want to see like Sublime and then watch Jesus Lizard if I can.
Yeah, you want to get creative whiplash.
Exactly. Oh, the Addicts are playing? Let's fucking go.
Oh, shit. Never been an Addicts fan. But anyway, yeah. So in terms of titles, which titles do you like better? Foetus or Jesus Lizard?
Oh, boy.
These are some pretty good titles.
It's hard because I notice I saw like an interview where he named his album Hole, and then he liked the idea of naming the next album Nail. So there's like a little bit of
call and response there.
Follow through. I don't know. I just feel like bias. I gotta go Jesus Lizard.
I'm going Jesus Lizard also just because head, goat, liar. I like those words.
And yeah, like I think I like Thaw, Gash.
Yeah, I bet you like Gash.
Yeah. Maybe even Ache, but then the rest are just like, I mean, they're 4-letter words. They're not terribly exciting.
We gotta dissect every 4-letter word. We're gonna spend 2 hours alone on the titles.
James Hetfield's gonna have a field day. Sorry, I always have to reference that awful Metallica song.
Which one?
The one where he's like, love is a 4-letter word.
Oh, God. I blocked it in my memory.
Never spoke on here.
Oh, God. No. So, yeah, he did some mingling in New York, and that's pretty much what we're going to get into with that because we have so much music to talk about, as you can probably tell by the length of this video and audio, whatever.
We shouldn't have even gone on that Jesus Lizard
We
detour.
should not have. This is stupid. We need to move fast.
That's the story of our lives. We should not have done that, but here it is for public consumption.
Here it is. So yeah, 10 albums total that we're going to be talking about. First one came out in 1981. Last one, 2013. And I'm surprised it's been that long because I remember when that album came out. I can't believe it's already been that long.
Damn.
Oh yeah. But if you're ready.
Oh, I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Hell yeah. This is As You've Got Foetus on Your Breath, 1981's Deaf.
This recording is a collection of unintended indiscretions before microphone and camera. This recording is a
I kind of miss these these samples where the voices sound like this.
This recording is a collection.
Would it be like old
operator,
yeah,
public service announcement kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This recording is a collection of unintended indiscretions.
Now this is just fucking no wave.
I really appreciate how awkward that pause is.
So awkward. And that is not the only time he does that awkward, gigantic pause in that song.
Yeah.
I quite dig that opener. But Worsley's favorite
Whoa.
by easily.
Like I said, this was hard. This was hard for me.
Really? This was not hard for me. This is the only album where I finished it thinking that stunk. It is the only one.
For some reason, maybe because it's new to me, I was like, it's got its chaotic charms to it.
It does. It certainly does. And all that chaotic charm is relegated to the first 4 tracks, and that's it. The rest of it shits all over itself. It's hilarious. Like, there's plenty of noisiness in this project. All kinds. I love noisiness. This is the only album where it's pure, straight up experimental noise for fucking 5 minutes, and that's it. This is the only album that does that.
The last song most definitely is.
The last song most definitely, and I'll elaborate more on it. But also, What Have You Been Doing? That's another one that just does that. Harold Macmillan. It's another one that does just that.
But like Harold is this kind of short.
That one is shorter. But What Have You Been Doing is fucking 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, it sounds like someone's playing Pong.
Yeah.
And then someone else is playing saxophone. And then someone else is breaking random shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's basically, that's pretty much it. And I'm sorry, but I don't enjoy hearing that much. And then the closer, Negative Energy, is the worst culprit. Mostly, I wouldn't know if this is worse than the LP because, for one, it's 15 minutes long, but it's 15 minutes because it's trying to emulate a locked groove. So at 5:56 is when it starts repeating and then goes on for 10 minutes with the same 2 seconds or 3 seconds.
Yes.
And fuck you, I get the point. Like, I refuse to listen to the final 10 minutes. I get it. It's annoying. The first 5 minutes was already like, I mean, it's fine.
I kind of like the wacky primal like video game percussion.
Yeah, I'm not too bothered by the rest of it that much. There's a lot of laser sounds on there. It's a lot of, I mean, it's still a lot of like really nonsensical random sampling. But that's going to be here for a while.
I was like, there's clown music though. Mike has to like it.
There's clown music in this discography, and believe me, I'm gonna give it up for the clown music. I love me some fucking clown music. But yeah, so the parts of that song that I'm okay with just pale in comparison to the rest. But the first 4 tracks, I was actually like, okay, I see where it's a rough start. It's a very embryonic record. Mm-hmm. He's clearly just recording these on an 8-track by himself. This one and the next one, I believe, was just him with an 8-track, and it sounds like it, but there's good ideas there. Like, is that a line opens up with a saloon piano?
Oh, I did not realize that saloon pianos is a very common reoccurrence in his music.
There is a lot.
I was like, oh, it's just the one song, and then I listened to every album, and he loves it.
He loves it. He loves swing and jazz. He loves theatrical stuff. I mean, we're gonna get into all kinds of it, but that song. The first one of the discography to come in with some fucking carnival melodies, and I like it. I think it's a very cool. It takes a shift about a minute into this like sleazy 80s dance bass driven riff, very electronic driven, a lot of electronic elements around it, and it kind of alternates between that section and the carnival section over the course of 7 minutes. I mean, it's long, but it's strange and kooky. It's not bad.
I really enjoyed it, or getting tongue tied. I really enjoyed I Am Surrounded by Incompetence. It's just cool to have these like odd synth like video game sounding tracks. There's a break from screaming, which there's a lot of screaming early on.
Yep. Oh, as you, yes.
Yeah. So I think that was like the first song where I found like something where I can confidently say I like this.
Interesting. That one, yeah, it opens up with some Kraftwerk sounding electronics. Check out Kraftwerk episode, and it goes into this fucking Mega Man sounding riff. Very fun, really fast. Yeah, it's a little corny sounding with all the textures, and it's very dancey, but I think it has good energy. It's fun. Yeah, I was pretty much sold with the opening track just because I love No Wave so much. But also I'm pretty good. I'm pretty not happy with, but I'm okay with Why Can't It Happen to Me? Weird samples all over the place, and like sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's just annoying because here it sounds like he's just using every sound he's ever heard and throwing it into a song.
Like Happy Birthday.
Like Happy Birthday, which is on that track. It opens it up with it and then it closes it with a Happy Birthday song. But it goes into this keyboard arpeggiated riff, very similar to Suicide. Check out the Suicide episode. We've covered literally every band in the world.
And if we haven't, give us 5 more years.
I know. That song it's weirdly happy and poppy, but I dig it. And the tribal drums is a thing that we get a lot in this album. A lot of tribal drums. But fun stuff.
Yeah, I guess the most popular song off here is Today I Started Slogging Again.
Is it?
Yeah. And that one was interesting to me because that is like there's blending these electronic drums with noise rock stuff. And then it at times oddly just like feels like he's like trying to emulate James Brown if James Brown was in this weird area. It's oddly dancing. Like, I don't know if they're actual DJ scratches or samples, but it's just crazy to hear an album this unhinged in 1981 and like DJ scratches.
That is very unusual. I am not big on that song. You said James Brown. I mean, it's really funky, but it's this cheesy electronic funky thing. And the vocals in that chorus are pretty rough, and it's almost 6 minutes, and it is not for me.
The kids seem to like it.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm already shadowed over what we've been doing in Harold Macmillan. I'm okay with Thank Heaven for Push Button Phones.
Because that's like actually clown music, like the
there. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna fight that. Yeah, and it's fun. Plus, I think I just feel I prefer it. Not prefer, but like it just feels better than it normally would following two noisy tracks. Oh, not two noisy tracks, but like 3 songs I didn't like, and then 2 of which are insanely noisy experimental pieces. So I'm just like, all right, it's tangible. I'll grab onto it. I'll take it.
I think since you hate the back half of the album so much, I just want to give it up for Flashback, and then we can it's the shuffle beat. We're usually a fan of vocals that sound like homeless men screaming.
Sure are.
And I like Flashback in the back half of the album.
Flashback, is that the first time we get one of the Thirlwell swing songs?
It might be because I noted it's like the shuffle beat. And
yeah. So the swing stuff is, I mean, we're gonna get a whole bunch of it, a whole bunch. And I think I like this the least out of most of it. I don't think any of the riffs are interesting or hooky at all. Plus, it's just a lot of dicking around in it. But I do appreciate the swingness of it. Again, I end up liking the song less after hearing how he's done it better later on. But there's something there. But yeah, it starts out decent for me and then takes just a fucking nosedive after track 4. And it's like, man, it shows potential and some of the songs are genuinely fun, but fuck the rest of this. I am not coming back to this one. It's just rough.
I was thrown in the deep end. I have no idea what public perception is. I have no idea what fan outside of like glancing at a few things, because I saw bad reviews for some albums and I'm like, they're not that bad. Like whatever I give my worst and or least favorite to, I feel like I've heard worse album. Like,
oh, definitely. Yeah. We've definitely heard worse albums. This is not the worst of the worst. It just has a lot of tough, abrasive stuff and a lot of go nowhere experimental pieces. But my worst, least favorite, and we have plenty more to talk about, so we are going to move on. If you are ready.
I am ready.
Hell yes. This is still as You've Got Foetus on Your Breath. This is the second 8-track solo album. This is 1982's Ache.
When God saw them sinning,
I feel like you're a fan of things like uniformity. Are you a fan of like the album art?
Yeah, I like the album art. I think it's a cool little like discographic style. It's very like propaganda poster looking. It's very interesting. Now this sounds like it was put through an electronic metal filter or something. Like the whole song has robot vocals.
Yes. And yeah, this is a good mix of old-time piano. Stuff being broken.
Yeah, I noted that it sounds like a million spoons are falling on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something about the electronics on here where I'm like, I feel like that's the tone YMO would use.
Check out YMO.
Yeah. They would never record a song like this, but the tone, yeah.
So that's an abrasive opening that I don't love, but I do think it's interesting. I actually like this album a lot more. I mean, I'm actually okay with this. I like this album.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge step up, even though there's some roughness. And honestly, that's not a great opener, but I'm okay with it. JQ Murder, following track, comes in with that swing energy and does it real fucking nice.
I was kind of impressed by this album and its ability to... The writing's better, but it also somehow sounds trashier.
It's so trashy. It sounds extremely trashy. And we don't hear it yet. We hear it a little bit more later on, but you're going to hear some insane birthday party influence. And this is the same year that Junkyard came out, which has a very similar junky, echoey, shitty, clangy production style that I think works beautifully with the album. But I don't think it's any coincidence.
Yeah, this kind of feels like if you're a psychopath and you thought like the birthday party was kids stuff and you just needed it crazier and more unhinged.
It's crazier and more unhinged, but way less interesting, way less grabbing, way less creative. I like the album, but just Birthday Party I find to be exceptional in what they do, and it's the reason everybody copied them. This doesn't sound like the Birthday Party. This is really interesting because the swing stuff for one. There are some hilarious vocal choices on JQ Murder, and it's very quirky. But overall it works for me. There's like a section around 2:30 that's real paranoid sounding that I like a lot.
Is this the first time he's using horns? I don't think horns were on the last.
Oh, is that right? Ah, interesting.
I could be wrong, but I'm overwhelmed. But like that's when I noted like, oh shit, he's using horns now.
I imagine there's synths. I can't say for sure. I don't know. But later on, we're going to get real horn sections.
Or like invoking the sounds.
Yeah,
of horns,
yeah.
Whatever you want to use.
Love the main riff to, I mean, I would say this is a genuinely amazing song. Gums Bleed.
Yes.
That main riff.
Yes.
I mean, it's just one of my favorite Foetus songs.
Yes. I called it a noise noir masterpiece.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That main riff, it's like this really interesting piano and drum combo.
Mhm.
It's stuck in my head already right now. I saw the name and I'm already thinking of it. It's fucking one of his best riffs.
Also-
Really wild arrangements.
Also, I wouldn't call anything on the first album like sinister or evil. It's just
No.
crazy. And yeah, there's an evilness to Gums Bleed.
There's an evilness to it, but in a noir car chase kind of way. It's
Yeah.
it's not like metal evil. Genuinely great song. And then we're back to some funk with Mark of the Ostracizer.
It is a nice. Everything is jarring, so it is like a nice breather.
Oh, is that what you feel like it is? Like I've that one. I'm okay with. I was okay with it more on second listen. It's a stinker for me overall, but there were a lot of good moments in there.
I really enjoyed the last minute and a half. On
Yes.
that one. Yeah.
The last minute and a half is fucking great.
Yes. Those the drums and bass.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wrote the exact same thing. Lots of movement, real tribal. It feels like a completely different song. It basically takes a huge shift and changes into a different song in the final minute and a half. Really fast and snappy main riff to exit the man with 9 lives. Really good energy with some no wavy pianos, if that makes sense.
That one, I kind of felt like all the different instruments are playing at different BPMs and got in a car accident.
Very Beef Hardian in that sense.
Yeah.
Check out the episode on Get Beef Hard. It's just Plug City, this episode. There's a section around 150 with a really interesting progression there. But a lot of herky-jerky, weird nonsense, but in a no-wave kind of way, which I'm fine with. Get Out of My House is bizarrely catchy.
That is talking like the same way it's like He's Birthday Party for Sick Fucks, like Talking Heads for Sick Fucks.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, man. It just feels good, man. It's some real catchy riffs, a lot of chaos, of course, but just snappy no wave. I mean, it just feels great.
It's really crazy, all the layers, because there's something in there where I'm like, this sounds tropical, and then there's like twangy stuff. There's like Ren and Stimpy guitars, which makes sense because he loves swing music.
Mm-hmm.
Just crazy. What maniac.
Yeah. I might as well mention it now because I keep forgetting. Thurlwell's vocals, we're going to hear a whole wide array of vocals.
They change as much as the actual music does.
Early on, he's just doing the screaming like we heard. I really like his screaming probably more than anything else.
Okay.
I think I prefer his screaming voice because, we're going to go into other styles and some of them are enraging and annoying. Some of them are like, why are you doing that? Some of them are, it's like, that's just being a copycat right there. Other ones are like, oh, that's good. We just have like a weak voice. Here, it's fun. I love the screaming. It just feels completely unhinged. Wholesome Town is a hilarious and crazy take on a Western.
Rolling.
Yeah, it's just using the rolling line from Rawhide, but as its foundation.
Yes. And then I don't know if it was like the Jimmy Crack Corn music or something similar to that, but also that's featured on Wholesome Town.
It's really interesting. It's like an alien tried to write a Western song. That's kind of because it's like, oh, I recognize these as Western elements, but this is fucking nuts. But it gets really lively and fetusy around 240. I don't know. I just like it. It's goofy and strange and not very enjoyable, but I can't call it bad. Mm-hmm. Plus, a really cool funky bass line comes in during the final minute. But Whole Wheat Rolls kind of continues off of Wholesome Town. It's just like an extra minute basically. But it kind of feels like fucked up Christmas music. More swing, you ask? Kid Hate Kid, more swing.
Specifically, like West Side Story.
Oh, is that what you thought?
Like the Jets and the Sharks are walking down the street, snapping their fingers.
Yeah. I know my West Side Story.
I thought I was going to hate Spielberg West Side Story. I really enjoyed it.
I might give it a shot.
I don't know if you will. I don't know where you stand on the original and all that, but because I don't care.
I saw the original as a kid and hated it because it's a musical and those are gay if you're a kid. Like, and then as I got older, I'm like, oh wait, this fucking rules. At least the music fucking rules.
Yeah.
And it's a little goofy to be like dance fighting, but I mean, I can't back up dance fighting, but I can back up with, was it Gershwin? I think.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking like almost being embarrassed by how much I love some of those songs.
Did you watch Maestro with Bradley Cooper?
No. What's that? I mean,
It's about Leonard Bernstein.
oh,
It is the most Oscar bait thing I've ever seen.
lots of tears.
Or it's just like Bradley Cooper jerking himself off. He said he worked on the Leonard Bernstein voice for like 8 years. I'm like, you're just doing a nasally Jewish guy. What are you talking about?
I'm Leonard.
Or not
like, what do you mean?
He'll be like, and so this is like a random part, but it was so funny. He like comes home after a night of partying on like Thanksgiving Day, and like the kids are running around, and he's like, "Who left Snoopy in the vestibule? Who left Snoopy in the vestibule?" It's fucking that scene's insane, but like
Jesus.
that kind. Sorry.
No, I have to see. I want to see. I want to see Bradley Cooper go weird, full stereotypical Jewish.
Yeah. I think he wears a prosthetic nose.
Oh, come on. Yeah. But back to Kid Hate Kid.
Yes, very, very much.
Very swinging. Around 2 minutes in, this Asian melody comes in. Really, really fucking cool. It's a little uneven, but it still has a lot to enjoy.
I want to get to the bottom of the last track.
Instead, I became an enemy.
But online or streaming, it's spelled enemy. And
on Wiki, it's anemone. ANENOME.
Also, I think on Discogs, which makes sense because I noticed there's lyrics about like sea urchins and stuff in there. So I think the punny one is probably the right one.
Yeah, I believe it's anemone with the word anemone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. I saw it on the Foetus website where it's spelled, like the word anemone. But this isn't the first time that we've gotten fucked up song titles and album titles on Apple and streaming. I mean, next week, we're not going to mention it in the episode because I didn't notice until after, but next week, the album that we're covering on streaming, there's a weird typo on the streaming version of the album title, which is like, who's double, like nobody's proofreading this shit. It's crazy.
I don't know how it works.
As a guy who's uploaded stuff to those websites, all you gotta do is proofread it. It's fucking easy.
Yeah.
But anyway, the song, Instead I Became an Enemy, I think it's next to Gums Bleed, my favorite song on the album. Second favorite, whatever.
It's because there's circus music.
Sure. There's some carnival sounds and big farty basses.
Fast open hi-hats.
Fast open hi-hats. It's so kooky and intense. It's so fun.
You know what I found interesting is those, I don't know if they come from Australia, but those tube things that have
Didgeridoos?
No, not the didgeridoo. They're like tube things with like beads and shit, and you turn them upside down and they sound like they're making rain.
Oh, the rain sticks?
Rain sticks.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but it sounds like there's like a sped up rain stick on there.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there's so many. We're not even talking about all the crazy samples because they're they're everywhere. It's kind of unbearable, because they're not done in like, oh, here's this texture that's going to bring out this part of the song. It's just like inundated with just
put that in there.
It's just. This song is also going to have 50 noisy banging things falling around in the background. And it's like, it's neat for a little bit. It's neat for an overall style, but if they were missing, I don't know if the songs would be lacking that much. I don't know if they really make the songs that much better.
That's an interesting way to look at it, I think, for my adventure if I go back to these things.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's worth going back to for sure. But yeah, I mean, I was immediately like, okay, the potential from the first album is already kind of bearing some fruit. There's some good writing here. It's getting more tangible. Is this a review?
A review?
A review? Yeah. What? I guess when it came out.
This called Noise Magazine?
I think it's from Noise. Written by Dave Henderson, describes this. I mean, really already fucking up his information. It says a real oddity from the west coast of the States, which is wrong. He's from the east coast of the States. The ideas and the actual songs are quite good. A touch of weird, Beefheart, Birthday Party, and lots more. The big problem is that it sounds like it was recorded over the telephone onto a broken cassette recorder. It might as well have been.
Yes. But, also as someone who's covered a lot of different artists and has screwed up information, I feel his pain of thinking.
Happens. Yeah. It happens. There's going to be more mishaps I'm going to be less kind about, especially because this guy's clearly not from, I mean, if calling it the States, he's obviously not from the US. But time to move on. We got plenty more. This one is, now we got a new name change. This is As Scraping Foetus Off the Wheel. Very pleasant imagery there. This is 1984's Hole.
You want to know something, Red? I like you. I like everything about you. I like the way you fill out your clothes. I'm gonna soak my head under your hose.
Now this feels like Ministry.
My head out.
These are like proper industrial sounding.
Yeah. You still got plenty of shit falling in the background. That's not going anywhere yet.
I'm gonna soak my head under your hose.
The way you feel like your clothes, I wanna stick in my head under your hose. I like the way you feel.
A little bit of that old timey swing and rock and roll.
I'm glad you noticed that as well. And these are like the most aggressive the guitarists have ever sounded.
Yeah. It's very cool. This is like industrial no wave.
But the cadence to the way he's singing, it's like, let's put that in like, hello, Marvin? Yeah, it's your cousin.
You feel like your clothes, I wanna stick in my head under your hose. I like the way you feel like your clothes, I wanna stick in my head under your hose.
Michael J. Fox playing this in Back to the Future.
Yeah. So, well, I believe, he's still by himself on this album, but there's a lot more to it. A little bit better production. And, there is a fine album. I didn't like it as much as the previous one, but there's still, I mean, it's still good. There's some stinkers. I feel very similarly about the first handful of albums. There's some I like more than others, but for the most part, it's like, there's some good songs there. There's some real annoying, weird stuff there. And they all kind of feel similar too. Like this one has a very similar vibe to the one before it.
I felt like this one was the Growing Pains album, and I believe this is kind of a more beloved album.
Didn't even know that.
It is interesting to hear a chaotic act like this get more polished, for lack of a better word. I think he's growing as a vocalist. I think his vocals are more varied here.
Yeah, it's less intangible screeching. Now, I mean, on that opening track, you could hear his voice. He's still like yelling, but there's a little bit more of himself in there. Lust for Death. What TV show did they pull that fucking thing from? Was it not Get Smart? I mean, the dun.
Dragnet.
There we go, Dragnet.
Yeah.
Damn, thank you. I was gonna drive me fucking nuts.
And I only know that because that's also a very popular sample in hip hop. Yeah, so it's interesting how he's like on that song particularly, like smashing industrial music, old time rock and roll, and some hip hop, and it's fucking aggressive clown music.
It's pretty aggressive. It's very interesting.
Which is funny because there's a modern band called Clowncore. So,
ooh, interesting. I don't know if I want to hear that. Oh,
Dylan likes it. It's it's chaotic. Yeah.
All right, fair. Well, you know what? You want me back over?
Yeah.
Lust for Death. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, the clanginess feels intensified here. I mean, he's always clangy, but I mean, he's really going hard.
That's a neat song to listen to in headphones. There's good panning back and forth. I always appreciate that.
I love to get some good panning. I really like his screams on the intro to "I'll Meet You in Poland, Baby."
Yes.
The voice samples are pretty hilarious. There's a bunch of like Nazi samples there too. It's more like a rhythmic sound collage, but I still like it. There's like these dark choir samples in the outro, and they add this layer of melody that we don't normally get from this whole era. It's not bad in terms of it being just this kind of weird sound collage thing.
I had no idea what I was getting into. I was like, this song's bordering on cinematic. I had no idea what
was to come. I mean, boy, oh boy, cinematic is, geez. I mean, we've said the word cinematic a lot, but this time we mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hot Horse has been an ongoing thing I've been making fun of since I heard it. I mean, it's retarded. I don't know how else to describe how else can you describe Hot Horse?
There's so much different sounding percussion going on there.
Crazy drum samples.
I kind of like the drum / percussion / trash cans, whatever it is.
The drums is probably the most interesting. Well, there's a few decent guitar riffs on there, but the drums I find to be the most interesting.
And then, yes, this is like birthday party, noisy tom waits, heart vocals.
This is where it's not as bad on this album, but it will get more intensified. Him doing his Nick Cave impression, and Hot Horse. It's like it's so over the top and ridiculous. You can't. It's not. I didn't immediately put it like, oh, he's trying to sound like Nick Cave. I didn't think that. Later on, it's like, oh, are you just trying to sound like Nick Cave? It's crazy. It's weird.
I will say the way he says horse, hot horse. You can tell he's been hanging out in New York the way he said hot horse.
Some more hilarious vocal choices on Sick Man.
Yes. Very sleazy. Got some harmonica to seal the seal package. And some hoochie coochie man ass guitar riffs that turn into punk rock chaos.
That one for me, for one, it's a little bit more on the song side than usual, which is a weird thing to say about an album, but it has this kind of sleazy bar rock feel to it. And then around a little bit after the halfway point, it goes into basically Sega boss fight music, which I think is actually quite fun. It's a very interesting song. I liked it a lot more in second listen. Kind of won me over a little bit, but it is pretty wild. Street of Shame brings back the swing in full force. We're back with some swing. Swing isn't going anywhere for a while.
The most prominent on that song. Also made me think about, for some reason, there was a swing music revival in the 90s.
With the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones?
Or Cherry Poppin' Daddies, or there was Gap commercials, or Jim Carrey's The Mask.
Yeah, wasn't that
Brian Setzer Orchestra?
Wait, who was in The Mask?
Jim Carrey.
No, that's not the actor, the band.
Oh, not Cannibal Corpse.
No, I mean the swing scene.
No, I know. Yeah. I just said that because Cannibal.
It'd be pretty good if Cannibal Corpse was doing that though.
They were in Ace Ventura.
They sure were. Yeah, Street of Shame. It bleeds right into Satan Place, which is another one that won me over second listen as opposed to first. It takes things in more of a surf direction.
Yes, sped up Beach Boys, complete with a maybe not a sample, but they even do the wipe out.
Oh yeah. There's even, this one, it goes so hard with the surf stuff. There's even, I think he's actually singing parts of a fucking Jet Boy Jet Girl, whatever the hell the German version of that is. I think it's originally in German.
I also curse myself on, I think just the seamless blend of Street of Shame to Satan Palace. I was
same place.
Or sorry, I was just I wonder if anyone's ever tried to get this guy to do a musical. And
You're already
after
putting it together.
I don't know if I want it anymore, but like, you know, it might be cool.
I think I'd want it. Yeah, same place sounds like if a Beach Boys cassette was getting eaten by the tape player.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it.
Thank you.
Yes.
White Knuckles brings back the crazy sampling horseshit. I feel like he didn't even bother writing a riff for that one.
It's very primal. I will say, instead of sounding like someone else, I could hear how a Trent Reznor would listen to that and be like, I want to sing like that.
It's funny because this is 84 and this, I believe, was pretty influential industrial. I mean, just given the year alone, I mean, that's pretty damn early.
Yeah, I think in general, I get the sense the first 4 albums.
Yeah, I mean, I get it way less from those albums, just like listening to it and hearing the comparison or hearing how it could influence. This one, it's like, oh, this seems quite obvious. Water Torture has zany pianos to accompany its batshit swing.
Yeah, that's like full pop and daddies there.
Yeah, it's the most he's leaned into the swing stuff, I think, at this point. And I like it a lot. I think it's pretty damn fun. Closer is Cold Day in Hell, which is another winner for me. I like that one as well.
I'm glad it got menacing because my tolerance for swing music was really
being tested, huh?
Yeah. It's weird before going out. I don't know if I'd say I hate it, but it's just so much to consume here.
I think I don't like, or I'm not a huge fan of traditional swing for the most part. I almost always like how Thirlwell does it.
It's just a genre of music I don't even feel qualified to talk about.
I think there's certain types of jazz that I'm just partial to that I was fine with it. I'll never like go nerdy over it and like get into it and learn all the people. But if it's on, I'll be in a better mood. Swing is a little bit in there. There is like, gypsy jazz. I love gypsy jazz. And then there's also just like I don't even know what you would call it. The kind where you're in a lounge. That one.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about because I've listened to Foetus.
Yeah. Because I'm not big on jazz. I've never took a dive into jazz. It's not my thing. But there's some of it that just puts me in like, all right, have that on. I'll feel all right.
See, I've never even thought to connect swing music to jazz. I've thought about like big band music.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I guess it's closer to big band.
I suppose they're like cousins. I could see that. I'm gonna maybe read into that.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's nearly as improvisational. I don't even know if you could even lump it in fairly.
Big band music always felt like jazz for white people
that were 108. Yeah, like super old.
Wow, of the time.
Exactly, which is becoming literally 108.
Yes,
but. I still like the closer. It's like you said, it's meaner, it's more sinister, really evil sounding piano plucks, and the choruses have like a million different textures in there. They feel really full and satisfying, and I think they complement the more minimal verses very well. A lot of range and a great section at the end where it speeds up. Fucking winner. But yeah, it opens up and ends strong. I think there's a lot of sus shit in the middle, but I like it. I'm not gonna like lose my mind over it. I'm pretty picky with this band. I'm not like a ride or die by any means, but I did enjoy this album.
After Tupac, everything's ride or die. We're not going to do best where it's just going to be ride or die.
Yeah. This is my ride and this is my die.
Yes. Should have worn my Fast and Furious shirt for this episode.
Yeah, maybe. This next one is also Scraping Foetus Off the Wheel. This is the following year, and this is 1985's Nail.
I was not prepared for this.
Nor was I, even though I had an idea that this would happen.
Okay.
This is not an intro or a sample, everybody. This is the whole song, which is kind of an intro, so maybe I just lied. hate to be a spoiler, but this is the whole song. There's no vocals that come in. And this is not a representation of the album. It's a representation of 2 songs off the album.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this album more than the one before it. I like Nail more than Whole.
I'm amazed you didn't give this best.
I have no idea how you could give this best compared to something else that we're going to talk about. Holy shit.
I'm new here. I'm giving this best. People seem to enjoy this album.
I don't care what the people say. They're fucking wrong. Holy shit.
I'm very overwhelmed. I have my personal thing I like, but due to the nature of being so overwhelmed by like the many different facets of Foetus, this just kind of also feels like a good middle ground where it encompasses the most sounds.
It encompasses a lot of sounds. I don't think it's the most diverse in terms of writing style or approach. And also, this is where Thirlwell just starts copying Nick Cave to an egregious amount. The first time is on the next track on The Throne of Agony. I mean, the way he sounds like him is so specific. When he sings the word agony, holy shit, it sounds just like Junkyard, the song Junkyard.
I was getting more Darby Crash vibes.
Not only, check out the episode on Jerks, not only does that line sound like Junkyard, there's another part in the song where his cadence sounds just like Nick Cave's from King Ink.
Okay.
Like he sounds like 2 different birthday party songs in that one song. And that's only one song on the album. He's just copying the fuck out of Nick Cave on here.
For me, I was like, this seems like if Darby Crash was more of like an avant-garde guy.
He might as well have been with how fucked up he was all the time.
You can't be avant-garde when you're Darby Crash fucked up.
Yeah, that's true. You can barely stand.
Yeah, I don't know. This one, with the theme from Pigdom Come and at the end of Throne of Agony, I was like, we're dealing with a different animal here.
It's a completely different. This is where he first starts dabbling in cinematic stuff, but it's not the jump into cinematic music that I thought it was when listening to it in a row like this chronologically. This is just him being like, all right, I want to make a little orchestral piece. It's more like the seeds planting in a very obvious way, more so than a style change.
Yeah.
Because the rest of it is still Foetus. It's still crazy abrasive Foetus. You get more cacophony and clanging on Pig's Will.
That was like really like stabby. And he'll do this a lot throughout his career, like stabbing strings. Like he watched Psycho and said, that's not good enough. I need them to be more stabby.
Stabbier, please.
Yeah, the percussions is these like crazy fast fills instead of a normal beat. Really, I think it's a song about Charles Manson. Really, really channeling his spirit in there. Yeah,
it's some legitimately cool riffs in there too. It's a really good song. We're not even going to talk about exclamation point because it's 4 seconds and it's noise. But going on to Descent into the Inferno, more Nick Cave. I mean, the song is just a slow, sludgy birthday party rockabilly swing with hilariously dorky synths and then Nick Cave vocals.
Again, I was like, oh shit, this is like proto Mike Patton.
It's not that.
Yeah, there's like the nasty vocals, but then he does like the doo-wop vocals.
There's some scatting stuff, which is pretty ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah, there's horns. There's almost like a level of control to the chaos now, I felt like.
There is, but I feel like it's emulating and influenced way too heavily by the birthday party, because on Descent to the Inferno, there's one more on there that honestly really sounds like the dim locator. Like I'm remembering actual birthday party songs, all from, well, not all, but mostly from Junkyard. Like it really is channeling a lot of that, and it's not on this album there, but there's another moment where it becomes really egregious where I mean, whatever, we'll get to it. So I like the song a lot. I still think Descent into the Inferno is a good song, but
I do like
I'm only hearing the birthday party.
I do like that it's an actual descent because it does get more insane as time goes on.
You got some whisper vocals on Enter the Exterminator,
Which is nice on an album like this. There's still trash can noises and metal clanging, but he's whispering. He's not screaming at me. And of course, there's a Hall of the Mountain King part in there.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't there be?
Why not? There's also some kooky keyboard riffs that come in. There's something really, especially janky about it. It's kind of cute, but I don't really love the song very much. What I do like is DI19026. Comes in fast and cheesy, and those keyboards are hilarious, but it feels good. There's some really good hooks there. And also kind of like that piano tone. There's a good piano tone. Overall, I just think it feels like cheesy Moriarty music. It's really zany, but it's fun.
There's something about that song in my personal journey where, like, once the horns came in, I was like, I'm a broken man. Like,
really,
I feel like I am broken. I am just going to go limp and let this tide take me out to the ocean.
You gotta lean with it. I mean, there's something also weirdly comfy about these earlier albums that I was really charmed by, even though I'm like, it sounds like I'm shitting all over it, I always sound like that. But when I'm listening, I'm not just enjoying myself. I'm creating fond memories without even realizing it. Like, I'm going to look back on these early albums super fondly.
Really?
Like, there's something about this style that really charms me. Even if I don't love the full album or I don't love every single choice on them. And this album is like one of my favorites. Like, I don't like it quite as much as Ache, but it's up there with it. And then after that, we got the overture from Pigdom Come, which is a more elaborate, fleshed out version of the opener, the intro.
And yeah, that's when I made my monkey paws wish, and I wish not that it actually was. I was like, man, it'd be cool if he just did like an orchestral album.
Dude, it's so,
and it is cool, but
it's funny because I think that song, it's weird how straightforward it is on an album like this. And I think if it was on any other album, it would be super corny. Somehow here it feels like it's so normal, it's weird, which I like. And it's also really well written. It's a well composed piece, even though it's just a bunch of synth orchestral instruments. Yeah, it's like you could hear this early on that he knows how to compose in that with that arrangement style, which is not an easy thing to do. Like, in addition to being able to understand sheet music, I imagine he reads sheet music, but to understand how certain instruments need to be harmonized, that's a whole different thing. You got to be into that shit. That's tough. To know where an oboe goes, that's fucking weird. Not everybody knows where an oboe goes.
Dewey Cox would know.
He would know where he certainly would. He certainly would. Private Wars. Well, I guess we can. I mean, it's just another noisy transition track. But anything Viva. You know what I'm going to say? Nick Cave. I mean, Jesus Christ.
That's my that is like my one gripe. Like, I wish this ended with overture.
Yeah.
Because, and then coming in at about 7 minutes, it's a bit much.
It's a bit much. I like his screams. I think his screams are really good. I mean, I was already complimenting his screams earlier, but he's mostly emulating Cave on here. And when I say Cave, I mean Birthday Party Nick Cave, that kind of thing. And it's like a lot of people copied Birthday Party Nick Cave. I mean, you could point to David Yao, even though David Yao did his own thing, but you could see a lot of people influenced by that craziness. This is the only one where I'm thinking, I mean, he was friends with the guy. They both came up in Australia together. He's got to just he just had to just like the style and just started doing it or something. Cause that's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence. I also don't know Birthday Party songs and riffs off the back of my hand the way you do.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to deny it, but
yeah, I mean, Birthday Party is one of my favorite bands ever. And I'm like, I've heard them so many times that I can't help. And I'm also Nick Cave is literally one of like my top 3 favorite singers. So his voice is just sort of etched in my brain already. And no, if it was anybody else, I never even jump to the, oh, they're copying. I hate that. I hate when people automatically jump to that because you don't know what's going on. There's plenty of parallel thinking. And also it's a big world. We've been around a long time. There's going to be some overlap, but he's friends with the guy.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of time together. I mean, it's clearly an influence, but having said all that shitting on it, I don't mind the song. I like the way it builds up. It's a little long, of course, but there's like this big, giant, dramatic synth riff that comes in. I think feels really good. Does a little bit too much, but I think it's a fine song. But as an album, yeah, way more consistent and diverse than the previous one. The Birthday Party Similars, of course, like I keep saying a million times, they're all over the place, but still strong. There's good writing. There's good original songs. There's obviously the orchestral stuff. It's fucking weird and unexpected at this point. But yeah, I'd say one of his best albums. So even though I highly disagree with you giving it best, it is one of the better albums. Yeah.
I'm dealing with a lot here. Leave me alone.
But the simple fact that you actually were able to finish all these albums, God bless you. This is not an easy task that we do here every week.
No, it's not. And if you're a normal person, please just take your time and maybe start at the album that sounds most appealing to you. I think that's the best way to go about.
100%. And there's plenty of styles to choose from. We're going to, if these haven't jumped out at you, don't worry. They're changing. They're going to keep changing. This is a little review. I don't know where it's from, but it's the most annoying. I find this to be quite an abrasive to read review. This is like the reason I don't like reviewers or music critics. Larry's question: is scraping Foetus off the wheel some kind of put on or what? The obvious answer: sort of. Consider or don't. Quit trying to be clever, you fucking asshole. The play of names and products, the Foetus variations from the renowned Foetus family, and then lists all the various names of Foetus, as well as the Wise Blood projects. Consider or forget. Fuck you with your clever. The man behind the curtain, Clint Ruin, aka Jim Foetus, aka Jim Thirlwell. He spelled his name wrong. It's Thirlwell. If you provide the world with enough alter egos, there's bound to be something for anybody. Better yet, shuffle the ID cards, deal a hand, then sweep the deck, but not the stakes, off the table with a flourish and a sneer. I want to kick this guy's ass.
That is a obnoxious way to write. I've read some mean things about us where they go after our vocabulary.
Yep.
And I'm like,
spacey, sonic. We use those words a lot.
Ethereal.
Love that one.
But you know what? I think everyone does. And I think from the get-go, we always wanted that barbershop just hanging out vibe.
100%. We're two dudes. We're music enthusiasts, not critics. For fuck's sake, we're just two dudes in a garage, which is why I like doing it. I mean, if it's not a hang, then
also
it's gross.
You know, I feel like I've gotten better. Y'all have seen me grow.
We've gotten better.
We've gotten better. Yeah.
This was not this smooth early on, dude.
No.
I want some do-overs, dude. Some of those early episodes. God damn. I'm still going to plug them, though. But yeah, Alex is best. And I don't know how the world feels about that. I don't really give a fuck. That's how he feels. And that's how it goes, baby.
And who knows? Maybe once I get out of this fog, the same way I'm like really coming around to Ween, maybe I'll get there with Foetus one day.
My goal is by the end of this episode to change your mind.
You might.
That is my goal right now.
I feel like it's happened before.
Maybe like a little bit. I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna. Maybe I won't succeed. Okay, but I will try.
These were all very hard picks for me too, so it's probably not that hard.
Okay, but also don't get bullied. Don't get bullied by me.
Of course.
Only if you agree with my argument.
The garage is Florida. I'm going to stand my ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
But on to the next one. This is this the final name?
This is
yeah. The final name iteration. This is As Foetus Interruptus. This is 1988. A little bit of a gap. Is it a gap? Was it 3 years? like 3 years. It's not that big of a gap.
For the 80s, I feel like it was.
Maybe for the 80s. This is 1988's Thaw.
I'm shocked it opened with such off-putting noises. Just shocked.
Oh, goodness. How could he?
I think this is like the most simple drum beat at this point.
Simple, slower, still 80s shit sounding and industrial. This is like proto Rob Zombie.
Yeah. Like those early White Zombie.
Yeah, I like it. I like his voice here. I love these guitar lines too. Super heavy.
The guitar wasn't really a feature before.
Yeah. Very sleazy.
I mean, yeah, this is a sleazy band over there. And like, cause that guitar, I don't know, it's kind of cool though.
Yeah, it sounds like a strangled cat. It's not bad. Not bad at all.
Having said that, I don't like this album that much.
I'm giving this album worst least favorite.
I'm not mad at that. This is my least favorite since the debut.
Yeah. This is, I think on whole, I was like, that's a Growing Pains album.
Yeah.
This, even for a man who chooses to be so chaotic, just kind of feels aimless.
This one for me is the one too many Foetus quote unquote albums too many, where not enough has changed over the course of these albums to warrant this type of album, because it is very similar to the handful before it.
Yeah.
The clanginess, the same haphazard sampling, the same big industrial drums, the same screaming, the same copying of Nick Cave. It's all still here, and there's very little variation or very little refreshing things.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of, in case you're not tired of hearing me say it, Nick Cave sounding ass vocals, but this time it's on English, which I'll have to bleep that for YouTube. English Nothing Man, where it sounds a little bit Nick Cave, Tom Waitsy. The song itself is one of the few that I like because it's funny and it's apparently based off of like an answering machine message that he got from someone who didn't like him. Hence the name, but it's really anxiety inducing. It's very cool. It's really driven by drums, really brutal, really heavy.
He does like these like pig squeal vocals, and they're like the craziest thing on there. But yeah, it's heavy industrial stuff. There's smattering of horns,
and also the lyrics are funny. It's very much rolling with the punches kind of lyrics. Obviously the words will upset people, but the context is a little bit easier. Asbestos sounds like the Psycho theme. Another one that sounds like the Psycho theme.
I wrote the THX theme, but more murdery.
Yeah.
And then also like kind of like, I know like Hans Zimmer I don't think he was composing scores at this point.
Or plagiarizing.
That Dune soundtrack goes hard though.
Interesting.
Or score, I should say score. I made that difference on our
soundtrack episode. Check that out.
But yeah, I was just like, man, he's kind of like tapping into these like patterns Zimmer uses when he scores movies.
Yeah, it's that Asbestos feels a little bit like old school horror, old school cinematic horror, like a Hitchcock movie. I mean, I said Psycho, but anything like that, but obviously much more gritty and on the unpleasant end. It's pretty hard to listen to. It's really interesting. I appreciate the cinematic stuff because he's leaning in way more now. It's a little bit more integrated, whereas the last album had like 2 tracks that were cinematic. This is a little bit more ingrained, but Yeah, it's hard to listen to. I find it interesting, but not pleasant. The same with Finn or Fun, whatever, which is just 30 seconds of gunfire noise.
I mean, it's his hardest, most aggressive song ever.
Pretty much.
And yeah, in like 40 seconds.
House on Fa, which is a pretty funny title, brings back the swing in case we missed it, because there wasn't as much swing on the last album.
Those bong bong vocals are very funny and a nice welcome from the onslaught of noise that I've been experiencing.
Yeah, they have like a deranged gospel cadence to them.
Yeah, and they still like doing the pig squeals from the previous track, and then there's like, what's it gonna say? Oh yeah, there's like hand drums and like animal noises,
big jungly drums, big jungly sections.
There is something like jungly about swing music, I think.
Yeah, there definitely can be. Of course, sounds like Nick Cave on that song too. Many songs he sounds like him. What is it? Yeah, even though I liked the album up to this, I mean, I had problems with the songs. I'm not like bothered with the style. Fatigue with the style is set in hardcore. And there's a lot of songs in here that I still like Fratricide Pastorella.
I was like, I feel like I'm getting closer to my symphonic.
Dude, it's nice. It's like a twisted church hymn. It's really creepy. It's really brief, but really well done. You got some almost sultry pianos on the Dipsomaniac Kiss.
Yeah, it was. I think also in this album, why I'm giving it worst least favorite is like I knew what the pattern was. I was like, these like subdued, quiet parts are nice, but I know 2 minutes in, halfway through, whatever it is, I know it's going to get abrasive.
It's definitely predictable, but it's probably my favorite song on the album. If I had to pick one, it's really crawly. Has this really cool upright bass. It has where I was mentioning jazz lounge earlier. This is like a spooky jazz lounge. The loud stuff, of course, is demented, but I think it's a pretty cool song. I don't know what's up with those howling on Barbed Wire Tumbleweed, but they're fun.
That's more of like a soundscape.
Definitely.
To me, it's 3 minutes, but it's nightmare fuel stuff for sure.
Definitely. Really heavy, some really heavy soundscapes. His vocals are a little whiny and strange, but the strings are weirdly bombastic, which is, we're going to get plenty of bombastic strings later on. But I wouldn't call it pleasant, but I'll give it up for it being pretty different and interesting.
Favorite song on the album is Chingada.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, he's doing like the yogi music stuff. But it's gonna get fucking crazy. And I thought maybe he would abandon it, but it's still there. So like if you like Venus and Furs, but you want it to be violent, I think Chingada is that's your song.
I would agree with that. It's what the hell are those? What are they called? I just call them the boing Indian drums.
Oh yeah, I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, you know which ones. They make the boing, but
that's what he's talking about on the other song when he was saying boing boing.
Yeah,
on House on Fire.
But it's really interesting. The instrumentation is very cool, but it's abrasive and there's no really riffage or melody there. It's just like a more of a vibe song. It's very cool. Yeah, A Prayer for My Death, the closer, is legitimately annoying me.
I agree. I was just like, this is the most samey thing ever. And I saw like coming up, there's a big break between albums.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I hope that break pays off. And even though statistically, people taking time off isn't good for some reason. But yeah, it's just, it's so boring. It's almost goth-like at times, but yeah, it's this, I think the bass line's the best part of that song.
I don't mind the drums so much. Like they come in with this high energy 4/4 kind of fun feel to them. They're all right. And there's some cool sickly solo guitar lines every now and then, but overall I'd agree. Not the greatest closer. And yeah, this is just one too many of the same kind of thing. And it's kind of just in time because we get the gap. He wasn't like doing nothing in the gap.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
getting
Like
millions.
he didn't really take time off.
Yeah. But we are going to hear finally a change, which honestly, I thought was going to be more drastic, but it's still enough. I'd say we're done with this era, the style of Foetus for forever, I guess. But yeah, Alex's worst and least favorite. It is definitely one of the weaker albums. Not huge on it, but like many others, there's still some nuggets on there. But time for a new era and major label time.
That is so
fucking nuts.
Insane to me.
It makes absolutely no sense. And I think it's the only one on a major label. So spoiler how that went. Shocked
he only got one.
Oh my God. But this came out in 1995. This is the first time. It's just Foetus. We're just Foetus now. This is 1995's Gash.
Also breaking up the album, completely different album cover.
Completely. Crank it one. Yeah, the stylistic consistency is now gone.
And this is a slow, like a very slow build.
Yeah. Also, listen to that. He's singing now. And I gotta say, his voice leaves a lot to be desired when he sings. Like this, anyway. I think he gets better later.
Yeah, I never hated it. There are songs where like it didn't annoy me, but I felt musically it was so much more like they should just be instrumentals.
Yeah. Also, he's singing straight here, but he's kind of drowned in distortion. That is not going anywhere either. Basically, until the very end, he likes singing through distortion, no matter what the song is.
20-year-old threats and parasitic dread.
Big, giant, banging.
Should I just like because
it does change quite a bit.
Because like at the halfway point, we're still revving up.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, I guess it's fine. Yeah, I guess it's fine.
I mean, industrial as shit. The most industrial that he's ever been.
I mean, times have changed. I assume he has more money, so it makes sense.
There's quite a budget on this album. Also, chicken and the egg, but I'm getting a lot of Trent Reznor from his vocals here too. Just the style, the way he's singing.
I think Nine Inch Nails had, what's the word I'm looking for? They had like cemented their place in pop culture.
I imagine by 93 was the Downward Spiral, right? Was it 93? I can look it up real quick. Oh, that's a great sample. 94. Downward Spiral was 94.
But yeah, even before that, like, had like a whole...
Yeah, yeah. I love these samples. All right.
Yeah,
good idea of that song now.
I wasn't... When it started, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but yeah, once it gets like the symphonic electronic stuff, it works for me.
It's a good album. I liked it way more in second listen. First listen, I was a little hit or miss, and there's still songs in here that I don't like. I still don't think it's a perfect album, but I think it does a lot good, and the industrial elements feel pretty good. There's way more live instruments. There's a lot of guests on here. There's a full horn section on several tracks. It's pretty well done. And what is it? One that I didn't like at first, but won me over a second listen. That's Mighty Whitey, which is Jesus Christ. I mean, way too loud. Giant, way too loud electronic drums that drown out everything. Big corny synths, cool riffs, super cool riffs, with the synths, super cool synth riffs. But the production annoys me like you wouldn't fucking believe. For such an expensive album, I can't believe how unpleasant and abrasive some of this mixing is.
There's not that it has to do with the mixing, but yeah, there's like some cheap MIDI effects in there. Yeah, I think there I was just kind of taken aback, like, wow, a major label gave it. I was still like
Wild.
Yeah.
Different time. The 90s were a different beast. But it's so fucking wild and brutal that I'm okay with it. Friend or Foe is hilariously sleazy, and the Nick Cave vocals are also back. And believe me, I have more to say about that on this album more than any other.
I went Tom Waits there.
With Tom Waits, fair enough.
Yeah.
But
I was just relieved because I was like, oh, I don't think he's someone who would like sell out, obviously, but
oh yeah,
like these songs are antisocial in a different way.
Yeah. Because I mean, I guess he did sell out by working on various TV shows. Archer, he also worked on Archer.
Oh, dang.
For like 5 seasons or something. But
that show, if it's not over, should be.
It just ended.
Okay.
Yeah. It just ended, and they got him because of Venture Brothers.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar aesthetic.
Definitely. But yeah, Friend or Foe, it's like, I mean, it's just, I just don't care for the riffs very much. I mean, things kind of get funky around 240. There's a groovy bass line with some nice percussion, but I'm just not into it very much.
Hammerfall, dipping his toes back into Middle Eastern music.
Yep. Some Indian, I think there's Indian vocal samples behind him. It's some beautiful, kind of creepy.
I think I had a typo here, or who knows? I was losing my mind. I wrote insect sounding guitars.
Oh, interesting.
It feels good, but in a psychotic way.
Yeah, the way I noted it as, it sounded like a video game melting from overheating.
Yeah.
Really twisted riffs, really interesting stuff. And it alternates between that weird twisted riffs and then the Indian sounding stuff. I love it. I think it's honestly one of his fucking best songs. Mm-hmm. Even the saxes here, I think, sound really great. I think there's saxes, unless I'm just stupid and it's just a horn. But it's basically 2 completely different songs alternating back and forth. Mm-hmm. But I think they're both amazing, and it's a fucking crazy cool song.
Downfall, cranks up the noise and intensity.
An ear pain song.
Yes, there is actually a very cool guitar riff there when it's not buried under a ton of shit.
There's so much shit, man. Oh my God. It's insanely it's like I said, it's borderline painful. Like it's such a busy mix that it fatigues the ears, but I like the riffs a lot. There's all good riffs. I like it better than Mighty Whitey. That's for damn sure. After a blasting intro, Take It Outside Godboy goes completely orchestral, and it's gorgeous and confusing. Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
That's one where I didn't care for it because I'm like, oh, I got a breather. Are you going to beat me over the head halfway through?
Yep.
Yes, you are. Yep. I'm not kicking that football anymore, Lucy. I'm not going to kick it.
So the full band comes in around 225. I think it sounds great though. It's big and powerful, but it still has the orchestral elements peppered in. And I don't find it to be cheesy at all. Normally that kind of thing, I always register. It's like, all right, you're doing that fucking S&M Metallica thing.
Yeah. I never thought it was cheesy. It's just like, oh, I know what's going to happen.
I see. I still think it's pulled up pretty well. You got, Verklempt. Track 7. Really almost watery bass line kind of opens it up.
Real upbeat for Foetus. I was like, let's see if he gives into his worst tendencies. Of course he is.
I find that song to be an uglier, less catchy Nine Inch Nails.
There we go.
Yeah, and I really don't love that chorus.
I'm sure the label wanted that too, right? Like they were like, hey, this thing going on here, can you kind of do that?
I bet that's what they were hoping for. Yeah. They Are Not So True is a weird one. It's got, the carnival music's back.
I was going to say it's been a while.
Yeah. Sure has. You got the
Stabby strings.
stabby strings. You got some baseball organs or some Hammond organs, whatever.
The vocals are oddly soulful.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of haunted house sounds in this one. Spooky lines over a happy song. It's very interesting kind of juxtaposition. It's bizarre shit. I can't help but appreciate it. I don't love it, but it's fun. It's fun stuff. And now we get to what I do love, Slung.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, that's that lounge jazz stuff.
It's full on. No, it says full swinging car chase jazz, but it's 11 minutes and it's incredible.
It is the most epic swing song coming in at like 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Big drum solo in the middle.
Big old giant drum solo. And here's the thing. It's not even because we've gotten plenty of swing as we've talked about ad nauseum. This isn't a fucked up Foetus version of jazz or swing. This is legit straight, but it's done straight. Cause that could also be like kind of boring in its own way if it's just done completely straight. It's heavy. It's fucking hooky as hell. It's really well written, but played earnestly like a gigantic swinging lounge jazz song.
I don't know if Buddy Rich was still alive, but that'd be fucking great.
Oh,
that would have been great if somehow he got Buddy Rich.
That'd be pretty sick. Be pretty sick. I think it's one of his best songs. I fucking love it. It just pumps you up, and it's 11 minutes that flies by. Conversely, you get fucking Steal Your Life Away, which somehow feels 10 times longer than Slung, and it's only not even 5 minutes. I
kind of liked it because it's like the love child of Ministry and the Melvins. There's this sludge metal quality to it, and that's not really something Foetus ever really touches. So I was like, okay, there's it doesn't reinvent any wheels, but there's something a little different there.
The main thing that sticks out for that one for me is that it has to be a sample from Iron Man, the intro to Iron Man.
Oh, I didn't even think
the guitar, the bendy guitar note. I mean, if it's not a sample, it's played exactly like it.
Black Sabbath, or the cartoon.
Oh no, it's Black Sabbath.
Okay.
And maybe that's what kind of gives it a little bit of that sludge metal feel a little bit. But
that would do it.
But I don't know. I'm just not big on any of the riffs so much. And following Slung, which I was just so smitten with it. It's kind of hard to follow that up anyway. So it's not even like a horrible song. It's just following a juggernaut. Horns drive Muda Pump. I love that song. It's a good song. It's a real good song.
If I could do anything, I would just switch Muda Pump with See You Around Later. Like Muda Pump is such a seems like a perfect closer.
It's really good. It's big ass majestic choruses,
like timpani drums.
Yeah, the cinematic elements are super well done. The horns go into Morricone territory, which obviously we love Morricone. God damn it. I don't love that main horn line so much, but I think the whole thing is executed very well.
I like the horns very much. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Now here, it's rant time, baby, because See You Later is just Dead Joe by The Birthday Party. The song Dead Joe. I don't mean he sounds like Nick Cave on here. It's kind of similar. Dead Joe has the most recognizable driving rhythm. It's the same exact rhythm. The riff is almost the same riff. It's insane. It's almost 5 minutes of a less good Dead Joe.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it, but as a lame, I felt like there's kind of this psychedelic jam quality to it.
It does go pretty jammy. Dead Joe isn't the lengthiest song ever, but this one kind of hammers on some stuff. But it was so within seconds, I was like, wait, what the fuck? No, he can't be going this obvious at this point after all the times I thought he sounded too much like Nick Cave.
We're in the 90s now.
But maybe they forgot. I was listening to this with my lady, and I was so flabbergasted that I had to confirm it. I immediately put on Dead Joe. I said, remember this song. And then I put on Dead Joe afterward, and she was like, whoa. And so it's like, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I'm not crazy.
I don't think you are.
Okay.
I just don't have the point of reference to argue and or agree with you.
Ho, 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 ho. That's that Joe. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good album. I think it's a massive departure for him that lands and misses equally.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because like the parts that land are so fucking great. And then the other parts are just pretty lukewarm for me.
Yeah. Slung, Mood to Pump,
Yep. Mortgage.
Hammer.
Hammer Falls. Like those are like really fucking good. Like really good. But yeah, inconsistent for me. This
from
one
Rolling Stone.
From Rolling Stone. So you know it's not going to be full of shit at all. It says the greatest problem with Gash is that it doesn't significantly add to the sound Foetus established over his dozens of releases, giving the possible impression that in staying the same, he's simply playing to a market now open to industrial music. Still, this doesn't detract from the power Foetus can muster, which at its savage best slashes the heartstrings.
I've never heard anything so wrong and right at the same time.
Yeah, honestly. Because
it doesn't significantly add to this. Are you fucking crazy? Have you listened?
Clearly not. I mean, this is fucking a nut. It's still a nutty. I mean, I don't agree that it's
like first album to this one is night and fucking day.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. I don't love this album that much, but I mean, it does some pretty wild stuff, some pretty good stuff.
And then the last sentence, I agree with.
Yeah. But time to move on. Are you ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
Hell yes. Where am I at? Crap. I lost it. There it is. This came out 2001. So another big gap.
Mm-hmm.
We're now in 21st century, baby. This is 2001's Flow.
It's night.
Nick Cave. It's just Nick Cave again.
Can I turn this up?
Yeah. There we go. Okay, maybe last one. One last. I forgot to get big. Now we got some fucking Prodigy drums.
Yes.
So I just said he sounded like Nick Cave. He's mixing his own style. He still sounds like himself here. He's moving away from the Cave, so I'm gonna shut up about that.
It's like the most Ministry is.
Yeah. It's big and powerful. It's like it's kind of fun.
It's still chaotic, but in a different way.
Here we go again.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cool riff. So yeah, it's not a bad riff. And Thurlwell's getting he's gonna start sounding more like this. He's leaning more into his own voice from this album on.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna hear a lot more of himself. And
also chaotic pick, personal favorite.
Really? Oh,
I don't know what it was about this one.
You're out of your... I can't believe you neglected the best album by fucking far. I hope there's listeners completely baffled, but please tell me why you like this album.
This flowed really well for me.
Pun intended, I imagine.
I had fun listening to this album, which is not something I can. Oh, there's a sample for Ministry.
Literally a Ministry sample on that track.
Okay. I just had fun with it. That's all I can say about it. I liked it.
There is a lot of good stuff here. This is around the time that he started working on Venture Brothers, because Mandalay is the name of a character in Venture Brothers part of that song plays when the character shows up. He's a very side character.
Yeah. And that song, it's like the first proper noise track, maybe in a while.
It's pretty good. I like it a lot.
I like the haunting, beautiful parts.
Yep.
Kick-ass horns. I didn't know a person could write like epic noise industrial.
It is. I was never expecting to hear more Coney horns over industrial, and it feels great. There's that little that pretty section you're talking about. It's like a music box break around 1:30 in.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great section, but his voice is already kind of bothering me. He sounds especially whiny on here. But whatever. He's not, it's a different style, so I'm not so bothered by it. Track 2, Cirrhosis of the Heart, comes in super jazzy. Hate the vocals though.
The like nicest sounding song he's done. I love when the big fuzzy guitars come in. Lyrics are very funny.
Are they?
I think there's something about like a prolapse rectum or something disgusting.
Oh, lovely. It is beautiful. The arrangements are absolutely wonderful. The acoustic guitar sounds great. The vocals are the most odd thing about it, but it is a very nice song.
Grace of God.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have like sinister lounge music.
Mm-hmm.
And another reason I gave this personal favorite. I love the horns on this album. There's something about them.
They are pretty well done horns. That song, I'm actually quite surprised you like that, because his singing voice stinks. I mean, on this album, I think it sounds pretty bad for the most part. But that song,
like I said, Back Over Nail, I've
let go.
Yeah.
Because I think Grace of God is a good song. That I like the song. I hate his voice more, and it just lost that balance.
I've been I have, what's that called when you get like a fancy for your kidnappers?
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, I have Stockholm syndrome.
Maybe
this is fine. This is good, baby.
There is some good stuff here. The Need Machine opens up with some more Kraftwerk style electronics.
When that bass kicks in,
yeah, big fuzzy bass synths, really good stuff.
Definitely sounds like a machine.
So now this sounds a lot like Ministry. I mean, that song literally sounds like Stigmata.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a great song and I think it's cool, but it's also like, it's just not the most, original. But it still has some like really cool synth lines. There's a full solo there that channels jazz. That's really, really unique, really interesting synth solo, but very cool song. And then to double down on the Ministry thing, Suspect, that electronic hi-hat sounds just like the intro to Stigmata. It's like 2 songs in a row that remind me of the same Ministry song. I
love Suspect.
It is a great song. It is a great song.
Talked about some Hitchcock scores. This is like Hitchcock, Carpenter. This is their weird love child. I even like the parts where like blaring guitars interrupt it.
They sure do. Around 240, they implement the fucking driving kick drum, which makes it obviously immediately feel like you're being chased with the big Carpenter synths. Very fucking cool. I love the song. It's one of my favorites. Maybe my favorite off the album.
What I think is maybe the most interesting song is Someone Who Cares.
Interesting.
Is it weird? I think that song has like sexy undertones to it, like the way the music's being played.
Really? I don't know. So there's 2 things about that stick out. One, it samples Laredo Tornado from ELO, which is off El Dorado. I think they're ELO's best album.
That's why I liked it.
Hell yeah. Check out the ELO episode 1. Even though I just shot on early episodes, it is the first episode. Listen to it anyway. Laredo Tornado is a fucking incredible song. So when you hear a sample like that, I mean, it is a great fucking sample. But the other thing, that main driving bass and drum combo reminds me so much of We Care a Lot by Faith No More.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So weird. That song kind of got a second wing thanks to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Use more Faith No More, James Gunn.
Please. You got some more chase jazz with whiny vocals on Whole Doc 78.
Oh, it's like full blown swing music.
Yeah. So you're not bothered by the vocals?
No.
Holy shit, dude.
That's baffled. Like, that song is the most fun I'm ever going to have listening to Foetus.
What? I like the song, but it's a tough compromise because of how much I hate those vocals.
Yeah, I don't know. The vocal, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. The vocals have never like been a driving force in this band for me. So I just kind of do what you do with a lot of stuff and kind of put them to the side.
Interesting. Okay. So if vocals aren't a problem for you, I imagine you have to love Victim or Victor.
You know, pretty neutral on that one.
I mean, I think that fucking opening bass line is so cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was fatigue. Maybe.
Also, the wild synths on there, that it sounds almost like a theremin.
Yeah.
I mean, it does drag a little bit, but I still think it's a cool song.
Yeah. I do like Shun, though.
You do.
Unusually clean guitar. If that's a guitar, it kind of reminds me of like the strings DJ Shadow samples on Introducing.
Ooh.
I just don't know what else to compare it to.
Some of the textures on there sound like squeegees. But I like the big heavy moments. I'm not so big on the moments in between. Not a huge fan of that one, but okay. So this is your personal favorite, the closer, which I can't pronounce. It's 13 minutes. What's the deal?
Is it kebab? Is it supposed to be?
Kreibabe, Kreibabe. Kreibob.
I don't know. I like,
Crybaby.
Crybaby.
That's it. I'm stupid.
We worked through it.
Yeah.
You worked through it. I like the trippy vocal effects. I like the big heavy guitars over the backwards effects, cacophonous drums and electronics. I even like the creepy parts.
I think I only like the creepy parts, and it doesn't get there until 8.5 minutes into the song.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, it's really interesting. It's got these horror strings and a lot of other orchestral instruments. There's a synth line at 10 minutes 50 that's super intense. It's like a full-on horror movie soundtrack. I think it works really cool. So it's a 13-minute song with a solid 5 minutes at the end, but I have to sit through 8 minutes that I don't care for, which I'm never going to do. So that's why ultimately that's a thumbs down for me.
I liked it. I don't know what to say.
Well, he liked it, everybody. Well, he liked it. I find this one to have a lot of missteps, but I still like the direction he's going. But yeah, I'm genuinely surprised that this is your first. I'm so blown away. I
don't know what I'm doing here. I'm this.
If you had the most fun, you had the most fun. But I'm going to go hard for my pick.
Jesus Christ, what is this from?
This is a 5-star review from...
Out of 5 or 10?
I don't know. It says, confessional onslaught from one of the unwitting progenitors of industrial music as the fag end of punk was finally stubbed out on the stage of music hall in the early 80s. Foetus emerged as one of the few sonic visionaries capable of propelling new waves, aesthetic terrorism forwards. What the fuck is he talking about?
I have no idea. I've never... Maybe because I'm too young, I've never heard, I've heard people use that term to like describe bands they don't like, but never like, oh yeah, like this whole, like all these musicians.
Yeah. I guess so. 20 years and 13 albums later, Foetus remains uncompromisingly true to his original vision, creating in flow and emotionally shattering transcendence of rock music's mediocrity, blistering intricate big band, jazz, pistaches, monstrous euphoric wails of feedback, and unhinged emotional exorcism makes this soul purifying sonic assault uplifting, shattering, brutal, inspirational, poisonous, beautiful, and uniquely unmissable. I think it's 5 out of 5.
Oh yeah. You know what I don't like is that he wrote out 20, but then did the numbers for 13.
That's insane. The rule in journalism, at least within the past 10 years, I think 10 and under. Yeah, 10 and under.
You write it up to 10.
Yeah.
After
like,
10,
after
you
10,
can
you start writing out the numbers.
Yeah.
But Alex's personal favorite, a wild pick, but we are going in yet another direction with this next album. Big time. This is 2005's Love.
Even for him, like a fucking harpsichord is surprising.
This is the harpsichord album. There's a lot of harpsichord on this album.
Yeah. Which I guess is appropriate if you're going to call it love. It feels like a very loving instrument.
Yeah. A little Mozartian. So he's earnestly singing, and he's not drowned in distortion, which is one of a rare exception, honestly, in the entire. You hear those cinematic strings in the background?
They're doing the heavy lifting on this song.
This is the new style. Heavy rock with heavy duty cinematic orchestral stuff. I think this song feels fucking awesome. I find his voice to really hurt this song, honestly, but it is very cool.
I also feel like the way his vocals are now is kind of maybe intentional or not, like kind of harkening back to like 70s psychedelic prog rock a little bit.
So, before we take this episode into 3-hour territory, I like this album. This is one of my favorite albums of theirs. It is, I found it to be a little bit rougher on second listen, but I'm going to keep this one around because I think so many of his best songs are on here.
When I recover from this, I'm all out of accolades, but for some reason, I'm going to start around these albums when I come back.
These are the ones that need a little bit more attention because there's a lot to get here. So the writing, for one, is the best it's been in a long time for me. It's very song focused, this album. Mm-hmm. He's now just doing songs. I mean, there were songs before, but there was a lot of like wild shit. There's a lot of like lengthy, big giant passages, a lot of crazy experimental stuff, even when he was becoming more straightforward. Here, these are like songs. So track 2, Monogamy Deuce, Monogamy Deuce, whatever. I think one of his best songs by far. I adore this song.
I agree. Psychedelic, like the Rosemary's Baby theme.
Incredible. It's incredible. Really great bass and drums. Lovely layers, really tastefully done too. Like, gone are the days of haphazard noises and shit falling and random samples.
That's all gone.
Way gone. Way long gone. And it's even got carnival organs in there, which is perfect for me.
Those aren't going anywhere.
Not going, thank God. And it gets big and heavy at the end. I absolutely fucking love the song. Aladdin Reverse opens up really minimal with these hushed vocals. Of course, all these songs have harpsichord on them as like a prominent feature. But these swells kind of creep in. Horn swells start creeping in.
I didn't care for that one.
Oh, damn.
This kind of felt like treading water. Maybe if it was a little more shorter, but I was like, yeah, not winning me over.
I like it. I like how it gets gigantic with the big symphonic elements and the drums. Mm-hmm. And the arrangements here feel really intentional and careful. It's like overnight he suddenly became a real composer, like a composer. They all feel like really organic symphonic arrangements, which definitely didn't expect. And then plus it has a lot of industrial metal on there, which is I find to be blended nicely with those elements. How do you feel about Miracle?
I love it. I didn't realize how heavy he was going to like continue into the cinematic score stuff from here on out. But at the time I was like, this is like really refreshing. I like the cinematic elements.
Very interesting. It's got some nice intricate drum work on there, some really complex bass lines. It's a little faster than the others. The drums on that song absolutely fucking roll.
Mm-hmm. Really taken aback by Don't Want Me Anymore. It is one of his most subdued songs. The strings are beautiful. Some might even call this a ballad.
Yeah. Those flutes really create a whole mood. Really interesting flutes. And he comes in with this really uneasy melody with a lot of uneasy embellishments. It sounds like a very nauseous sounding thing. Like they're very queasy sounding vocals. They're like intentionally off key. It's a dark and unsettled song, and some of the harmonies there sound like strong winds. It's really interesting.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
It's because we've had unusually strong winds today.
Sure have, but yeah, it's very theatrical. It's beautifully written. I mean, I obviously don't love his vocals very much, but it's such an interesting song. It's a little bit difficult. There's a lot to dissect there, but very cool.
And then I guess Blessed Evening was a single, and I think it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't have some of the staying power of the others, but I'm okay with it. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to follow. It's a little bit less tangible. There's a lot of percussive elements. It's fine, but I'm not like super swayed by it. What I am swayed by is Pareidolia.
I'm going to indulge you there because I would like, not that I dislike the song, but I just think the music is 1,000 times more interesting than the vocals on that one.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, I just want the vocals stripped away because I just found myself like kind of shoving them aside when I listen to that song.
It's incredible. It's gorgeous. It leans back into the horror movie feel, but the textures are incredible. There's a violin around 2 minutes in that is just haunting. It might be a theremin. There's a theremin credited on that track, but it sounds like a violin. And then the sections that build in intensity feel great, and they're really paced well in the song. It's fucking awesome. It's great. Thrush, I don't love.
I think I liked it just because it's different. The woman featured on here, Jennifer Charles, I liked her voice.
Yeah, she's from Elysian Fields, which I've never heard.
I like the addition of the like dark electronic music feel. I love that latest Chelsea Wolfe album, so that's no surprise.
Yeah, it definitely has a little bit of that feel to it. You can call it a Nine Inch Nail vibe if you want. But of course, it has way more cinematic elements. It got full-on kettle drums, which give it an entirely unique feel. But I'm just not super big on it. I feel like it's more vibe than song. But I don't mind the vocals from Jennifer on there, just because we don't often get female vocals in this band. You got some sorry, but hilariously whiny vocals on Time Watches On.
I think I just appreciate a good high energy song.
Yeah, there's got some busy string lines that, no coincidence, I doubt it's a coincidence, string lines that sound exactly like the overture to El Dorado by ELO. I mean, the same album that he sampled earlier. I mean, those strings sound a lot like that overture.
That's probably why I liked it.
It's cool, but really awesome synth and trumpet lines on that one. But great song.
Yep.
The closer, I also really like a lot.
Don't hate. I do not like it.
It's I mean, he's doing a lot of horror movie soundtrack stuff.
Yeah.
This one kind of channels a little bit of the anxiety of the Jaws theme.
It just, I don't know. It wasn't hitting for me. It didn't feel like there was any like ebb or flow. Like it wasn't as good as like track 2. It was.
Well, it's definitely not. But also, I'm really surprised that it's like when the drums come in, it feels like orchestral industrial doom metal. Like, I don't know how you can't get on board with something like that.
I may be lost in the sauce. If I change my mind in the future, I'll give you guys an update.
It is some pretty cool stuff. The heavy sections there, at a certain point, they sound like they're falling over each other. So it gets kind of rough, but the outro is fucking gorgeous. I don't know what the hell instrument it is, but it sounds great. I still think it's a strong closer. I find this album, when I first heard it, to be a huge step up in every possible way. It's introducing this new ingrained orchestral style, but the songwriting is now like, not that he wasn't focusing on songwriting, but melody is taking a huge front seat here, which he's not done a whole lot of melody centric stuff in Foetus.
Yeah, it was a nice change of pace, but for a little bit. I had it as my least favorite for a little bit.
Insane. This is one of my favorite ones.
But yeah, the good songs on here, I was like, I can't do that to the good songs.
I will give that. I didn't like it nearly as much on second listen because I was comparing it to other stuff too much, but it is a good album and the songs that hit are insanely good.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a couple more. We're almost done, folks. All right. We're almost done, boy.
Jeez, I should have came over here earlier.
Oh, I know.
Fucking, what was I thinking? Eating dinner. So stupid.
So stupid. Oh, I'm going to read this fucking asshole review from Vice. Yeah, I'm glad they fucking went under. It says,
No.
Not yet.
Well, I liked Vice and then I hated Vice. And then towards the end, I thought they were doing some good, like legitimately good journalism. And then they're fucking, what a mess. Anyways.
Yeah, I haven't been on board since the crazy drug undercover days, which was wild stuff. But this is from Vice. It says they gave it a 5. I imagine out of 10. This sounds so meek and tiny. Already insane.
Already wrong.
Was it recorded and mixed entirely on a cell phone? Insanely wrong. I feel like Paula Abdul from American Idol saying, "Gee, Foetus, I loved you at the audition, but now I don't know. This performance didn't do it for me." It's like his hysterical, bombastic 80s records were the audition, but since he's lasted this long, I can be hypercritical. Of course, by making me realize that my record reviews are like the tired, scripted lines of some schizo ex-cheerleader talking head, and that my brain is just like a right-wing TV network during Sweeps Week. For that, Mr. Foetus, you get at least a 5. And that's by Nella Cram. Well, your name sucks, so work on that one first.
I don't want to fully defend that, but it feels like, as someone who has written for like maybe websites, I'm just doing this and they have their style. I could see someone at Vice like, oh, we need like a wacky.
Yeah, someone not qualified to be talking about this band, or like not qualified isn't even the right word. It's someone who, well, it's not in their best interest to even listen to it.
There could be that, but yeah, I'm just like, who talks? I don't know.
No one talks like that.
It feels like they turned in a review and they're like, it's not crazy enough. You go back, and so you end up writing
all kinds of wacky bullshit like that.
That's not in your own voice.
Not in their own voice. Also not funny. Like,
no,
I mean, that's objective, but also it's not particularly clever.
No, like American Idol was real popular at the time, and even then it's like,
that's pretty hacky fucking reference.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm just bitter because I like the album. But time to move on if you ready.
I believe I am. Yes, I'm ready.
Hell yes. I am not. God damn it. This is, hold on. I am ready. This is 2010's Hide.
This song right here is fucking crazy.
Yeah. Already, we've never gotten anything like this. I don't want to talk over it.
So fucking good.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Unlike anything on any album before this.
Yes. I'm surprised you like this song.
This is incredible. The whole song is wild.
Because you know what this made me think of?
What would you mean to think of?
Made me think of Celtic Crosses Into the Pandemonium.
Fair enough, but it's way better done than that album.
I love that album.
I know, I'm okay with it now.
Yeah.
So this song has so many sections. I want to show off at least a few of them before we move on. He's never sounded this metal. That's for sure.
Now.
You know what? Just to to give a little bit of taste, maybe just jump at a random point in a little bit later.
Do you have the timestamps where it starts like doing the Asian feel to it?
I'm going to give you a ballpark for it, but first put on a minute 45.
Oh, we weren't even that far from a minute 45.
First of all, the drumming is insane.
Yeah.
And that fucking piano, that murder piano.
This
is
like
insane.
Also kind of like, I'm not too fluent in Magma, but from what I've heard.
So for that section you're talking about, go to 430.
I had to,
This is it. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
so good. So good. I mean, it's unlike any other Foetus song. It's a crazy opener. So best personal favorite by, I can't even explain how much I love this album. I think this is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect album. I think it's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's the only album I heard before any of this. So I came in knowing this album was, I listened to this album for the first time when it came out.
Okay.
Being familiar with Foetus, but starting here because I heard it was good. I liked it so much that I refused to listen to anything else.
You know what? I could see that.
This is so unquestionably their best album from every standpoint. So there is the pacing standpoint, the way each song flows into the next one. There's no downside. Like when it slows down, you need it to slow down. When it speeds up, you need it to speed up. It ends on a soft note after kicking your ass with a long song before it. It has this really good journey to it. And then the symphonic elements, the cinematic stuff is fucking fine tuned here, like to a fucking T. Some of it's a little bit cheesy, but it's still very fun. The songwriting has never been better. These are incredible written songs. You perform these songs without all the crazy orchestral stuff. They're great songs. And most of all, some would say, not annoying. There's no annoying bullshit on here. Every song is amazing. So where should I start? We heard a lot of Cosmetics, which is fucking batshit.
Yeah.
That was Abby Fisher on all the opera vocals. She sings on the next album as well as a few other songs on here. Fortitudine Vincimus, I can't pronounce that, which is a 47-second fucking nut job fest. What would you call that song?
I mean, that's a good description of it. I was just so like, I think I was like still recovering both times from the ballad Sisyphus T. Jones.
So that song alone is why I'm baffled you didn't give this best or personal favorite.
That is one of my favorite Foetus songs.
It is one of the best songs.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So for those who don't know, it is full on cinema Western, but done in such it's like, it takes all the things you would recognize from a cinema Western. It takes the Morricone horns. It takes the fucking whip sounds.
Yep.
It takes the big acoustic strumming guitars. It puts them all together. But all of the melodies and progressions are they're very like, I don't want to just say mature, but they're not. So when you think of someone who's going to write a Western song, they tend to lean on the country Western side of it. This is not leaning on country Western. It's played.
It's doing spaghetti Western.
Exactly. It's doing spaghetti Western with some Foetus thrown in there. The Spanish elements are absolutely wonderful. Some great classical guitar in there. At around 3 minutes 30, it dips into fucking Danny Elfman territory.
Yeah, there were a few times where I didn't want to compare him to Elfman because I feel like
that's unfair.
And yeah, like he's like a trailblazer in his own right. But you know, there are a lot. I think Danny Elfman, this has such like a dominant, iconic vibe, voice, whatever you want to call it, that it's kind of hard to not compare him to Elfman sometimes.
Yeah, there's like the Elfman progression. When you think of like the Batman theme, you think of that. It's like that. It's very similar to that. It's hard not to think of Elfman, but I love the drums. I mean, around 410, they're super good, super good. But the galloping, the way this drummer is galloping, it's so sad. Oh, it feels
with the
good.
guitar, yeah,
feels awesome. If I had to pick a favorite Foetus song, I'm going Paper Slippers 10 times out of 10.
Really?
I think
it's a great song.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most moving things he's ever written. It starts out like a very cinematic Beatles kind of song, but the way it develops is masterful. The writing is completely unmatched. Around 155 is when the song takes the big shift into the final buildup.
Yeah.
The cellos that come in, heart-wrenching. His vocal line, even though I was giving him a lot of shit, even though he has a weak voice, his vocal lines are so spectacularly well written. I don't give a fuck. He sounds funny. He sounds good. He sounds good. And the way that song develops, it has this one musical idea and it keeps expanding on it. It keeps adding layers. It gets bigger and it gets smaller. And then by the end of it, it's massive with these giant bass synths on there that it's one of the most gorgeous things I've ever heard. It's an absolutely flawless, masterful fucking song.
Well said, better than I could.
Well, I'm just a huge fan. I've been listening to this album literally for 14 years.
Yeah.
But
it's epic. I do like the use of like military snare rolls in like a way you wouldn't expect them to be used, and then everything else.
I really thought of Beatles a lot with that military drum. Military snare.
There was one song I felt was gonna be like the Beatles, just because I was like, oh, is this punny the last track? Putrid Son for Yoko.
But, or Yuko. That's Yuko.
Yuko.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, but I didn't get that. Not until the next album.
Oh, okay.
I like the blending of electronics and orchestral on the closing track, because for most of the album it's pretty orchestral.
Very orchestral.
Electronic stuff is.
It's more like it's more like peppered in.
Yeah.
There's moments where you probably wouldn't even notice if the electronic elements were removed, but they still help. I think they still help a lot. The Putrid Son. I would find it to be the least interesting song on the album, but it's still really well done. It's still really nice. It like you said, with the electronic elements, it really helps to separate it. And it's a gentle closer. Like, it's not like a super gentle song, but it feels gentle following You're Trying to Break Me.
Yeah.
Which reason number 2 of why I'm baffled is why this isn't your best or personal favorite. You're Trying to Break Me is full on sludge metal, basically, with giant horns.
I was so surprised where like, I was like, I'm beaten and you could say broken from like the industrial shit, where now that he shifted away from it, I was surprised. My favorite parts of that song, not that the other parts are bad, but like, yeah, I love the like menacing industrial parts and the like spooky theremins and
dude, yeah, a lot of some really interesting synth stuff. But I imagine you're talking about the section at the very end with the do do do.
Yeah,
it's so fucking menacing.
Yeah,
but I love how it fucking starts. It starts out with these like Middle Eastern violins, this subtle upright bass thumps, and he's doing this weird distorted voice, croony, homeless guy muttering thing over it. But it sets you up like it's going to be this weird atmospheric thing, and then the fucking drums come in, and it just becomes insanely heavy with these giant horns. Super. I mean, I love it.
Yeah. So I didn't give this any accolades, even though there's a ton of interesting stuff, because I'm just not fond of Here Comes the Rain.
Oh, Oh god damn it.
or Oil Fields. So that 1-2 punch was, it's not a deal breaker, but
Oh, I love both of those songs.
and maybe it's just too much Foetus for me.
Maybe the only thing about Oil Fields that I won't gush about, that I feel like could be criticized, is his vocals, because I think it's extremely well done. It's another one that really takes its time, especially that intro where it has like these little bells or little music box bells, and the backup female vocals from Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
They're really, really nice stuff, but it kind of revolves around this really, I don't want to say almost spy sounding bass line, but it's a really, it's all centered around this bass line, this very lonely bass line. All the other elements are kind of floating around the bass line. Most of the song doesn't have drums. And then around 3:20, it gets super dramatic, giant cinematic strings. But what it does is his vocal line, he's wailing on the same handful of vocal lines throughout most of the song. It's a cool vocal line. But at 3:20, when those strings come in, his vocal line doesn't change, but all the strings turn it from this kind of chilling bass driven thing into this somber, sad, majestic cinematic thing. So it basically becomes a different song within one moment, even though he's singing the same vocal line. It's a really smart musical thing. So that's why I love that song.
All right.
For Here Comes the Rain, I really, really love this song. It's like a big cloud of beautiful darkness. There's these synth sounds that kind of come in periodically that are really interesting. And my favorite part of the song, it's a fleeting moment. It happens a few times, but it's very short. At a minute in is the first time it happens. There's these symphonic textures. I don't know how he's doing it. They're extremely creepy and hair-raising, and the bass line behind it actually, just put it on a minute in, because it's fucking phenomenal. Oh, I love it. I don't know how they're doing that, but it is incredible. And then it progresses. It elaborates, and it turns hopeful for a brief moment. I think it's just beautifully written, and it comes in also following Stood Up, which is a very high speed, high intensities track. So it being this really gentle, chilling, and kind of creepy song feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
Stood Up is my favorite sung vocal performance from Thirlwell. I think those vocal harmonies are so damn good, insanely good. And it's really fast and high energy, great bass lines. And the funniest thing on the whole album are the big giant James Bond strings that come in. I mean, it's pretty cheesy.
Well, been working on Archer, so
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But I fucking love it. There's the only other track we didn't talk about is Concrete, which is it's a 2.5 minute transition noise piece, which it's kind of channeling the early days of like dicking around with a bunch of like machinery and objects. It's fine. I don't mind it. I wouldn't call it necessary, but I don't mind it. But yeah, I would say plain and simple, this is a masterpiece. One of my favorite albums ever. And I mean, every song is one of his best ever, in my opinion. I've obviously heard this a bunch of times, but going in order,
yeah,
I'm baffled at how this exists, because I like the last album a lot, but this comes in perfect after listening to a full discography of flawed albums.
Yeah,
albums that I liked, but that were all flawed, and then perfection. I don't understand it.
I mean, I think every album's kind of flawed for me, but
I love it. I love it.
I love that you love it.
Boy, do I love it. Yeah. I want to hear it again. It's like, I was obsessed with this album when it came out. This came out the same year as My Father Will Guide Me Up a Rope to the Sky by Swans, which was my favorite Swans album when it came out. Probably still my favorite Swans album. Check out those episodes. And so both of those albums came in the same year, and it was, I mean, I was very happy, but I was listening to this a lot. I was like, it was my album.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard it in so long that I just remember it being great and just, I mean, it's a great album.
Still held up.
Didn't really feel like listening to it. Going back to it, it reinvigorated my love for it. I want to hear it all the time again.
Nice.
All right. Enough talking. This episode's long enough. We got one more album left. You ready?
I am ready.
Hell yes. So this album is technically a satellite album to Hyde. It was written around the same time period. There's a lot of overlapping elements. But this came out 2013. This is Soak.
This is like the most Venture Brothers.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like the Venture Brothers theme song.
Yeah. The drums are so fucking good on this.
Insanely good.
These vocals are a very interesting change.
Almost sound like samples of like old blues songs.
Definitely.
I don't know how much the drummer was paid to do this, but it wasn't enough.
Definitely. So this song isn't very long, but it keeps up that intensity the entire way through.
Yeah.
I think this album isn't nearly as good as Hyde, but it's still one of his best.
Yeah, it's also always interesting when there's this like a remix song thrown in an album. Still very solid continuation of that.
So the remix is of Cosmetics, the opener from the last album,
Which is a fucking why
a gargantuan song to remix, and his remix. It says Secret Chiefs 3 remix, which is one of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah.
But it's really just Trace Bruins from Mr. Bungle. Check out that episode. You don't got to fucking twist my arm to hear a Trace Bruins remix of Cosmetics.
Yeah, he makes it noisier and more spastic.
He makes it more metal too.
Yeah.
Way more, he makes it way more guitar driven. So it's not just the mix that he changed, because he definitely changed some levels. But he also rearranged a lot of sections. So this version of Cosmetics opens with that creepy Venture Brothers piano part. And what I would say is my favorite part of his remix, the most incredible change that he did, is it goes from that Venture Brothers piano part into the terrifying operatic a cappella thing from the intro.
Yeah.
It goes from that and it goes into this horrifying, crazy, creepy vocal performance. Sounds incredible. The rest of it after that sort of feels like the same song, just remixed, just mixed differently. The only other huge difference is there's like one, it's on the outro of this version. It's not the outro of the original. Was one transition section that he made sound really major key and really happy sounding, which is like an interesting change. It's completely different, but for the most part, it's the same. It is definitely the same song.
I mean, that's the course for most remixes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as much as you can change it as much as you want, it's still very much the same song.
Track 2, I thought I had a little bit of symphonic fatigue, but it's too good. It's too good to deny.
So if you can put a label, a genre label on Cosmetics, that song, Protheism, would be in that genre.
Yeah.
I think. Yes.
Symphonic demon music.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
With some little bit of John Carpenter synths in there as well.
Also, we're doing it. We're finally doing it. We're covering the Halloween theme.
Yep. And I will give him I'm not a huge, I mean, that's also, Secret Chiefs 3 also covered the Halloween theme.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of that version. But I'm never like super swayed by the Halloween covers. It's got to be one of the most covered songs of all time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's it's iconic. It's amazing.
But this version is spliced in with original. It's called Halloween / Turbulence, but it's spliced in with original writing. I actually like the original stuff more than this cover of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
It is well done, but
yeah, it worked for me.
My favorite song on the album, and I think one of his best songs ever, Kamikaze.
Oh, dude. That was the one where I was like, this is like full blown Beatles.
Yeah. I said Elton John pianos, but you could throw Beatles as well.
Yeah, at first I was like, how crazy would it be if he did like a soft rock song?
And boy, did he do it. I mean, like relatively.
Yeah, and again, a song where I was a little weary with the way it started off, but like I love it. It's great.
Crazy good. The more military drums, that very Beatlesy sounding on that one, but also it throws in more Middle Eastern stuff. There's some Asian stuff in there as well. Fucking crazy good. I mean, super diverse, really, really incredible. You got Alabaster, really nice dreamy harps on that intro.
After so many songs pulling the football away from me when I kicked it, just really nice to have restraint and do a song like Alabaster.
Exactly. He's finally, after all these years, learned a little bit. I mean, he did it on Here Comes the Rain as well, where it gets a little bit louder, but it doesn't get giant, crazy noisy. This one, it's just a simple, gorgeous, short little song. Beautiful cello on there, whimsical and dark. Awesome. The murdery stuff comes on the next track.
Oh, Warm Leatherette.
Yeah.
That to me is like the most like glaring Danny Elfman.
Really?
Yeah. It's like if Danny Elfman wasn't afraid to throw like gruff vocals on his songs.
Ah, interesting. See, mine was a way more primitive way of looking at it. I was thinking the Venture Brothers if it was a horror movie instead of a cartoon.
Yeah. That works too. And you know, it's not like Danny Elfman has
the monopoly on this type of song.
Yeah. So, but it's just so strong. How can you not think about it?
Well, there's one interesting thing about the vocals on this album. He doesn't sound at all like any other album on here. So that song, I swear he sounds like an evil Adam West.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's doing a completely different approach. Most songs he sounds a little bit buried.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a very vocal centered album at all.
I am just still so like taken aback by your focus on vocal. Like I did not come in here ready to
Dude, it's because they changed so much.
Yeah.
They changed so much. And
they're just, like I said, I assume the way you feel for a lot of artists where it's just like, I'm like, they're there. But
they are what they are.
Yeah. I wasn't, I would, this like out of all the bands, I was like, well, if I didn't think too much, Mike's really not gonna. I was so wrong. I don't
know why. I don't know why with this band I'm suddenly focused on vocals. I can guess maybe it's because of a lot of the discography, the only melody was the vocals.
Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah.
it's maybe it's a mystery.
It's fine, but fucking track 7, La Rua.
Oh yeah, Madure, yeah, whatever. La Rua.
I thought that was going to be evil French music.
Yeah, me too.
But then I was like, no, that's a Trojan horse. This is evil Yiddish music.
It's evil. Yeah, it's full on. It goes circusy, but with Middle Eastern strings. So I guess that would be Yiddish. I think it's well done. It's I don't think it's like the most hooky thing ever, but it's interesting. It was written by Nino Ferrer. I don't know who that is, but he sounds Italian and or Spanish. Probably Spanish because Ferrer. But I'm not big on Danger Global Warming. It feel like it just overstays its welcome a little bit because this album is very much in the Venture Brothers style.
Yeah.
That one just goes a little too far.
It's very spy James Bond with like tingy electronics. I would be like interested in a shorter. On these albums, I did get a little bit, again, usually something associated with Mike, like that cinematic fatigue a little bit, but like the writing is so good.
I wasn't wild by the writing, but it is a cool style. I mean, it's just when you've heard so much of that one style, you're kind of craving something to grab onto a little bit.
Yeah. And then like, I feel like a common theme on this one is like songs not starting off so hot, but winning me over. Like spat once those triumphant.
The Rocky horns.
Oh,
dude. Great stuff.
Forget about it.
Talk about triumphant, man, dude.
Yeah.
I would like it way more if the song revolved around those sections. I still think it's a cool song, but those moments are really what sold it. And then the closer is Mesmerin, and we got some more female vocals on there. Is that Fisher as well? Yeah, it's Abby Fisher on that one as well.
Shit, yeah.
Wait, no, it's not. It's Natalie Galpern. Beautiful, chilling female vocals in the intro. Thirlwell comes in after with like, more, he has like tremolo and distortion on his vocals, but it's really nice. Big rolling drums with operatic vocals, super melodic, very dark. Also,
it's very interesting. I don't know, maybe because early just made such aggressive music. Yeah. It's like hard for, even after hearing it, hard for me to like picture how his vocals coexist with female vocals, but they play off each other well.
Yeah. It doesn't sound bad at all. It's an interesting album. It's like, it's his most cinematic album without feeling quite as like I don't even know how to describe it because it's cinematic, but it's all in that same style of cinematic, in the same espionage, Venture Brothers, very bombastic, heavy pianos, big giant horns. It's still very cool, but it has a lot of that on here that does wear me out a bit. It's an album, again, on the difficult side. It's not super accessible. These aren't the catchiest things ever, aside from like a few handful of tracks that are just really, really, really good.
But you could play these around normal people.
A good amount of them, yeah. They'll be like, why are you listening to fucking movie music?
Yeah,
for sure. But it's not offensive.
Yeah.
I like it. But yeah, holy shit, man. We fucking made it. Good God almighty.
Fucking tired.
If you want to read a fucking bad review of this,
this is a clear 5 out of 10.
A very clear,
because it says it.
It sure does. This is from Revolutions Per Minute. Says absent a cinematic or a narrative context, like much of Thirlwell's other works, so can be difficult to digest, especially at a single sitting. If you didn't get the idea yet, this is not easy listening music by any stretch of the imagination, but if your imagination requires an incidental score for your worst nightmares, one that evokes terror without sacrificing musicality, Soak may just work for you. First of all, that's beautiful. I would love that. Give me that.
I was going to say, there's so many contradictory things written there.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, what are you trying? Like, it feels like no wonder you gave it a 5 out of 10. It really feels like you're just too scared to pick whether you like it or you don't like it. So you just, middle of the road, I guess.
Fucking whip. You're scared, buddy. You're scared.
Coward.
Great album. Very good album. I'm not going to say following Hyde. It's hard to follow Hyde for me, but I still like it a lot. But yeah, he's working on shit right now. I think he's touring with another symphony. Archer just ended, but he was working on that for a while, which I'm sure paid his bills for several lifetimes over. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the dude's doing well. He's doing fine. I think he announced a new tour. I don't know if it already passed, but there were some dates like in February and March, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's one hell of a career, and we only scratched the surface of everything he's done. But it's fucking fascinating. It's obviously not for everybody, obviously, but if you got the stomach for it, there's some fucking cool stuff here.
Yeah, if you like noise industrial stuff, go from the beginning to Thaw. If you want orchestral shit, jump in with Love and go from there.
And there's some real good stuff here, baby. All right, please give it a shot. But yeah, thanks so much for listening and watching and hanging out. This is fucking, I'm tired. I'm sure you're tired too. I haven't had dinner. I am going to pass out.
Fuck. Yeah, you are.
Let's do a recap.
For me, best nail. I don't know what I'm doing here. Leave me alone. Worst, least favorite. Thaw. It's just a weird, even for him, just a weird album. And for some reason, my personal favorite's Flow. I had a lot of fun with that album.
Well, I didn't change your mind, but fuck it, whatever.
I can see where you're coming from, though.
Worst, least favorite, Def. It is real hard to sit through, especially knowing where he goes, because best personal favorite, Hide, a fucking legit masterpiece, and I think a perfect album. So go listen to it. But yeah, thanks so much listening and watching and hanging out. Thank you to Rivets for suggesting this. It's a band that we definitely should cover. I'm glad we covered. Don't think I would have pitched them.
No.
Yeah.
Not in a million years.
As much as I love Hyde, I wasn't super curious about the other stuff. And now I'm glad I heard it. Like I have genuine fondness for the early stuff. And like a good handful that I'm going to return to you.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that, supporting us and giving us your money. Everyone, please go to fucking Patreon for the love of Christ. Patreon.com/everyalbumever. Bonus episodes, you get to see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get to join our Discord, be a part of our community, and there you can suggest a singles episode. So if a new album came out this year and you want to see us talk about it, go there, suggest it. And if you're tier 2, just like Rivets, you can suggest a full episode, full discography for us to cover on these big old fat, super long episodes. In addition, you can also suggest any album from any discography for us to cover on Patreon bonus episodes. So go there, do that. It's fun time. Thank you. You can follow me on all social media at PanderMonkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
Please check out our history guy, Tom Osman, at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all his music, and TomOsman.substack.com for his podcast. He interviews a bunch of cool musicians, and he also writes about music a lot. He's a very active guy, and he does a bunch of cool stuff. So go there, do that. Thank you. I think that's it. So it's very obvious what I'm going to suggest as a closing song.
I hope it's the same song I'm thinking of.
I'm thinking Paper Slippers, baby.
Oh shit. I was gonna say Sisyphus, but I mean, you said Paper Slippers is your fucking favorite. So
we gotta go
I'm
Paper
fine with
Slippers.
that, yeah.
Hell yeah. So thanks so much for listening and watching. See ya.